What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the final week here of the RSL. I'm Tasteless, and joined with me is State. How's it going, man?
Feeling pretty good, dude. Excited for today. We are getting close to the end here of RSL Season 2. We got 2 best-of-5s ahead of you right now as we're getting closer and closer to finishing off that loser's bracket, deciding who's going to be making it all the way to the finals.
It's been a crazy season so far. We only have one Zerg left in the tournament, which is really unheard of in a StarCraft II tournament. But here we are. Right now, Protoss have been looking extremely strong. We're going to start the evening off with Maru versus Reynor, and then we're going to go on to Trigger versus Cure. This should be a pretty crazy, I think, one of the longer nights. A lot of drama here. You know, Maru, Reynor, it's hard to, want one to win over the other. But I think if you're a fan of Zerg, you're really going to want to see Reynor go here. Otherwise, it's just going to be 2 races left here for the tournament.
Yeah, would love to see some more Zerg representation. Of course, already a Protoss player guaranteed to be in the grand finals with Zound and Classic up in that winner's bracket. And for Maru, Reynor, Kieran, and Trigger, they are 4 great players, but 2 of them are going home after today, as these are all elimination matches in the lower bracket.
As you can see, our schedule is the same as it was the last 2 weeks. We're going to be on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We are going live with the actual show at 7 p.m. KST on those days. We do open the stream up a little bit earlier to let it kind of fill up with people. But yeah, it's crazy, man. We launched the Patreon not long ago, and we're already about to wrap up Season 2. And I feel like we've come a long way. By the way, Season 3 is going to be shortly after we finish this up. I think we'll be announcing the dates for that as we end this season. So we'll have that for you. We also have the offline finals coming up here. This is going to be in December. We're still securing the venue, but it's going to be a 15 million won prize pool. The players will be there live. The fans will be there live. We'll be there live. It's going to be super cool. We're going to be selling tickets online. And I got to say, I mean, this is going to be... I'm going to leave this year with a full belly as far as my emotions, my soul goes, as we kind of have an incredible run here at the RSL.
Yeah, it's been a jam-packed schedule. Like you said, we started the Patreon almost like, what, quarter of the way through the year? Was it April or May, I want to say? And We're trying to pack in 3 full seasons of the RSL plus the offline finals in December. So it's a lot of action. It's hard really to digest everything. And we wouldn't have been able to do it without our official partner, Archon Studio. They are making the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game. Pre-orders go available, I think, later this year, right?
At the very end of this year, the pre-orders are going to be up. They don't have the exact date just yet, but their products look amazing. Check out their website. I didn't know much about them until they contacted us, and I'm like, I opened the website up, and I'm like, oh my God, they have so much cool stuff on here. And obviously, they're going to do an amazing job with the StarCraft Tabletop Miniatures game. So I'm looking forward to that. We really appreciate their support. And these guys are really the premier tabletop miniatures game company in the entire world. So they put out some really high quality, kind of Blizzard-approved level stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. If you want to be a part of our community here and support the RSL on Patreon, you can do that by going to patreon.com/revivesc2. With the help of our Patreon supporters, we've been able to put this entire show together, and not just you get the warm, fuzzy feeling of supporting the RSL, supporting StarCraft, but there are a lot of cool perks you get as well. You get voting rights on maps that have been featured in the tournament thus far. I think it's maybe 3 or 4 maps every season, and they have been so fun to watch. They play very differently. The maps that the fans have voted on have just been so unique. They've been more aggressive. We had very interesting games and situations that you don't normally see. Plus, you can also get replay packs. You can vote for players to compete every season. It's just a full package, and we welcome your support.
We've also got merch. Go to tastelessreds.com. There's a 20% discount if you're already a Patreon supporter. It's just another way to support us in our endeavor here as we make this new StarCraft seasonal tournament. That's really just going to be beginning this year. We have plans into the future here for next year, and we really want to carry the torch. I know there's been a lot of uncertainty with announcements and an overall lack of clarity of what's going on in the future of StarCraft II. We've actually had several years of that where it's not really clear. So we wanted to put on some highly, well-produced, high-level StarCraft II that's very consumable for the viewer, very streamlined. And put it out there into the world so that people who love StarCraft can continue to enjoy it with a level of regularity and certainty that we wouldn't otherwise have.
Yeah, and a big part of that, too, if you want to support us, go to youtube.com/@ReviveSC2. Even if you're watching live, you don't have a need for VOD, still drop by, give us a follow, maybe click that little bell icon, get notifications for when the uploads go live, because the team has been hard at work putting together playlists of spoiler-free content for you if you can't catch everything, and we're also just trying to get the word out there for RSL. A lot of folks I've seen in Twitch chats or on YouTube or on forums come across RSL content and they're like, wait, what is this? I didn't even know this thing was going on.
Yeah.
And so building up the YouTube, it's very hard going from absolutely nothing to getting it to some place where the algorithm is going to start pushing it to people who want to watch StarCraft II content. We're trying to get there, so drop by, give us your support on YouTube, on social media. We would sincerely appreciate it. And Tasteless, looks like Maru and Reynor getting ready to start game number 1. Look at the map list now. Persephone, Killswitch, Botanical, Cenotaph, and Takamuk. 3 Patreon supporter voted maps for sets 2, 3, and 4.
I like the lighting in Raynor's room right now. We're going with the purple light gamer vibes here. The sheer number of trophies behind Maru is insane, by the way. This should be maybe one of the best matches, maybe one of the most important matches in all of RSL Season 2. It is a best of 5. And remember, again, guys, Reynor is the only Zerg left in the tournament. Historically, a very rare thing. Normally, we almost always have a Zerg in the finals or winning in StarCraft II. So, a little bit of a change here. We're going to see if Reynor can carry that torch on for Zerg or if he's going to get knocked out here. In the top left is Maru. In the bottom left is Reynor.
Yeah, going to be a very fun and exciting ZVT series that we've got ahead of us here. Reynor, as Tasteless mentioned, the last Zerg standing in really a tournament where the Zerg representation has been quite thin, all things considered. In Group A, it was nothing but Terrans and Protosses. Group B, Reynor was the lone Zerg, survived an onslaught of Protoss players in Classic, Estrella, and SOS, actually emerging in first place. Group C, Cham, he had a stunning performance in Season 1 of RSL, was kind of a standout, surprising performer there. A lot of people had him as a dark horse, but he took some very big wins. He got knocked out of the group stages, and then we just had Shin. It's been a very thin population of Zergs here in RSL Season 2, and naturally, there aren't going to be very many that get into the latter parts of the tournament, but for only one right now, got to be pulling for Reynor. But look at this build, Tasteless.
Yeah, Maru going to go for Command Center first into Gas first. Obviously, there's a depot thrown in there as well. I've seen a decent number of Command Center first plays here, but I'm very interested in that super fast Gas here.
Yeah, this is a very greedy build. About as greedy as you can possibly make it coming out from Maru, and I wonder if behind this we're going to have some kind of really big push. There was that era in GSL, I want to say it was like 2 years ago, where it feels like we casted 2 or 3 seasons in a row where every Terran was trying to go CC first into 8 rounds.
Yeah, it was. And then we had a couple games where they just went CC first into like all in on 2 bases. I guess that's not as much of a thing anymore. But yeah, with the extra gas that's already been mined here, I guess you can probably get your factory out, and then I guess depending on what kind of upgrades you want, if I had to guess, I would assume that's what the gas first is really for here. Now Reynor has no way of knowing that it was gas before barracks, unless maybe he would look at the timing of the factory and just know. I think that's a pretty nuanced thing to look for. I don't know. I think when you get to their base and see CC first, that's what you're looking for. Actually, I'm sorry. The Overlord's further out than I thought. He actually pulled it back, so he never actually moved in with the Overlord to see what was up.
Dude, we're going to have a third Command Center coming down. Look at this. 2 minutes, 33 seconds. Third CC thrown down here for Maru. And the factory's nearing completion, too. This is a pretty insane greed. Now, Maru in TVZ recently has been favoring mech a lot more. I know that Terran players in general have been favoring mech just because of the current state of the Cyclone and the matchup in general. But I do wonder where he's going to go with this one, because if we were ever going to pull out some kind of bio-based build, throwing down double engineering bay behind this, although it hasn't happened just yet, is a big possibility that can build to a 2-2 timing, which could just be so devastating if Maru decided to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, I wonder how Reynor's going to fare here. I feel like this is really good right now for Maru. The build is looking so strong. He's getting these 2 Hellions out here. Not that Reynor's doing anything wrong. It's just like CC first into gas after that into the third CC. It's like, well, this is, I think, literally as greedy as you can get, right? I don't know what's greedier than this. I guess a 4th command center, but like that, there's a point where you get so greedy it kind of doesn't make any more sense. So, when Maru has any kind of an edge, he's like 5% ahead in what could have been an even game. A lot of times that's all he needs to kind of tip the scale in his favor, excuse me.
Yeah, and on Reynor's side of things, I don't even think we've had a single Ling pack made thus far. It's been nothing but drones after the Overlord Scout confirmed it was CC first. He's been trying to match the greediness of Maru to some extent. Of course, we still do have the safety Roach Warren, 4 Roaches being made right now, Evolution Chamber coming in as well, as Reynor is developing on his side of the map. But
yeah, you were right, by the way, State.
It's
going to be Mac. And so having that extra gas, you're able to get the Banshees out, but also just have those factories get started earlier. Remember that, you can make a couple of extra factories and just get mineral-only units out of them, too, right? There's also a Raven coming into play here. Reynor is droning up, getting the Evo Chamber. And this is one of these games that can feel a little bit slow, but these usually make for the craziest games as things pick up. The Hellions are going to come in here, and, Reynor doesn't really have a good spot to hide these drones, so there's going to be, I actually thought there was going to be 7 killed, but it's only going to be 5. But I'll tell you what, that's worth it. A couple more going down, and I don't know where. A Banshee actually did some damage there.
Oh, yeah, in the main base.
So he did get 7 kills after all, just not with the Hellions.
+1 Carapace now coming in for Reynor.
So the command center was landed pretty quickly at the 3rd base. We see a lot of games. Obviously there are many different ways to get to 3 command centers quickly, but a lot of times we see the command center kind of tucked in and just cranking out SCVs and landing mules, but he's just putting it right out there.
Yeah.
The Overseer also scouted the tech here, so you're in a mech game now as Reynor.
And I think it's very good recognition for Maru to throw down that 3rd command center on the low ground and just immediately start saturating the minerals, because with those Hellions, you can see that Reynor is trying to go tit for tat in terms of matching the greed there of Maru. Reynor's got up to 60+ drones very quickly, is getting double upgrades. He's been very lax in terms of unit production. A couple of safety Roaches, but besides that, not too much. Even the Infestation Pit coming down here before 6 minutes, so likely going to be a relatively fast hive. And Maru, because he's going into this battle mech style, which balloons in terms of mass a lot faster than, say, if Maru was investing in the siege tanks, he is going to have the presence on the map with the Hellions, with the Banshees, and soon with upgraded Cyclones to safely secure this 3rd CC. I wouldn't even be surprised if Maru in a couple of moments threw down the 4th command center in the main base, or even on site somewhere, because his presence on the map with this battle mech composition is going to be so strong.
Yeah, and with the battle mech comp, you can kite kind of like you would with a bio comp, right? Oh, hold on a sec. He's going to just run in here with these Hellions. And I guess the idea is you just want to get the drone count as low as possible. I would say this is somewhat of a mission failure, only getting 4 drones there. But yeah, the idea is that the Cyclones can kite way better than, well, Roaches can't kite, let's be honest here. They have range, sort of, I guess, but and you can start to chip away, and as you've whittled the Zerg down, sometimes you can get to a tipping point here. And, I'm used to seeing these kind of Cyclone kiting techniques. I kind of am intrigued by the Raven and the Banshee here with this. It's an interesting addition.
Yeah, the Raven, you're usually scanning when you do these kind of pushes. Actually, hold that thought, as a big fungal growth is going to come in. Armor Shredding Missile does connect here on the Roaches, but with good target fire, Reynor is able to take down 2, maybe even 3 Cyclones right there on the front line, even getting a 4th at least. So some very good micro coming out of Reynor right now. It's not easy to get damage done on a battle mech army with just pure speed Roaches like that, but the fungal was so clutch. The starter step micro forward with the Roaches was superb, and that's a big win for Reynor, because you want to slow down the momentum building behind Maru as much as possible. He has a 4th command center done on site and a 5th CC already started.
Yeah.
Reynor really needs to get some plays going on his side of the map, and that's a great start.
Yeah, I think the attack out was a little bit poor from Maru, but, he's growing so fast, it might not matter. The 4th base, we're here at 8 minutes, just a little bit past 8 minutes, and, he's looking really, really big. Maru is, staying even with Reynor in supply, but remember that, right now, Reynor's got mostly Roaches, and those don't scale anywhere near as well. And so, sometimes you can look at a Zerg supply, and it can be a little bit deceptive. Great fungals, though. This is the 2nd perfect fungal here from Reynor that we've seen in this game, where he does just an incredible exchange. Wow. And he's going to do it again. And, I got to say, Maru's mech execution is looking a little bit poor.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of overconfidence right now from Maru with these pushes, but also just major props to Reynor. 6 more Infestors underway, by the way. I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's just going to go double down on those Infestors, especially with Neural Parasite coming in. As the battle mech numbers start to thin out, that can get increasingly effective. And look at this, another just brilliant fungal. And I must say, I love the addition of just like a dozen Lings. It's not a significant amount. You don't really want to overinvest into them against the Hellions, but it is just enough that if he's able to land the fungal, the Lings can get the full surround and just confirm the kill on every single unit that gets fungaled. Occasionally, if you don't have that Ling count, some of those units, the battle mech units, will be able to slip away, but Reynor, he's been so cost efficient against an army composition that is incredibly difficult to be cost efficient against.
So it's really been Reynor just absorbing attacks and, frankly, winning the exchange every time. But Reynor hasn't had his moment in the sun. Like, he hasn't had a chance to really come out and show what he's got. The way this game is organized, I don't know that he's going to have it just yet, but he is about to hit a max out point. He is getting Vipers. I think it's going to be his turn pretty soon to try to move out here and hit these locations. Reynor's ahead in a base. Sorry, by a base, I mean. But, I mean, Reynor's looking really scary. He's starting... Oh, my God. He's going to start to mind control, to Neural Parasite these Cyclones. And, you know, I'm getting worried here for Maru. He doesn't seem to have that kind of spike in damage like Mass Tanks, as an example, or something that can kind of obliterate everything. And you look at how many Infestors Reynor has. All he has to do is get a couple more Fungals, and eventually he's going to be able to move all the way across the map and attack in here.
Yeah, and the Battlecruiser edition here for Maru is also quite interesting because, in theory, having air units such as Banshees and BCs can be very good against an opponent building Infestors like this because they do allow you to have that air presence to deny the fungal to snipe the Infestors out, but that is a lot of Infestors, Tasteless, and with Neural Parasite for Maru, there are some benefits to going into BCs, but it's also a little bit scary because that Neural Parasite can change the dynamic of a fight in such a hurry. There's a bit of a skirmish here in the center of the map. Maru walking into the waiting arms here of Reynor as Reynor's posturing very aggressively outside of Maru's base. More Infestors in production, 2, 3. How many Infestors is this going to be? It must be like a dozen plus.
Well, he's getting so many. How many does he have right now?
It's a lot. It is a lot of Infestors.
I've lost count. Now, I mean, there's a lot you can do with that, obviously, but, you know, with Battlecruisers coming in here, I feel like this almost preempts that. Right? I mean, the Infestors can knurl that.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think with Maru, with the BCs, you just kind of want to hit them where the Infestors aren't. Maybe some Yamato cannons on the far distances can connect. Oh, even getting the Raven. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but somehow the Raven was able to escape the clutches of the Neural Parasite.
That was insane. Okay, so just look at the banks right now. It's 3.4K and 1.2K here for Reynor. Maru, I mean, he's about to max out, but he does not have the kind of deep pockets here that Reynor has. And we haven't seen Reynor commit across the map. I think part of that is just because the Cyclone kiting is so abusive.
Yeah, this is honestly really incredible play coming in from Reynor. Maru, for all of his greed, was just steamrolling into the mid-game with this incredible economy, but Reynor just with fight after fight has been so cost-efficient against this battle mech composition as he's running down the Cyclones and the Hellions a little bit here. Another armor-shredding missile is going to connect on the Roaches and Ravagers, but sequestering that army over here on the right side means the missile's not going to make too much of an impact, and now the BC tech is revealed. 54 more leagues are in production, so a little bit of a tech switch up for Reynor, recognizing that the Hellion count here for Maru is quite thin. And again, do not forget about that dynamic of these BCs versus Neural Parasite. That can change things very quickly. I wonder actually how many Ravagers we have. All right, it's only 4. So the actual anti-air here for Reynor is quite thin. We have seen this in the past where the BCs, if they go into the main base the way that Maru is kind of posturing to do so right now, even if the Neural Parasites come in, BCs don't kill BCs very fast, right, Tasteless? So it takes quite a bit of time. If there isn't a follow-up comp from Reynor to actually clean those things up like Corruptors or maybe Ravager Bile, it could still be tricky, but everything is looking so good for Reynor right now. That bank up to, what, 7K resources? Incredible stuff.
You know, this is looking a lot like one of those old Maru games where he would win this by taking his half of the map a little bit later than his opponent. And then just basically the Zerg is mining out. Now, this is a very different situation because it's battle mech into now a huge amount of battle cruisers. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that Reynor's like filling up his side of the map. The big play from Reynor is going to be winning a fight and dumping the resources back into another army to then try to flip the game into his favor.
The Ravager count has grown immensely here at Tasteless, and that will give a punch here for Reynor. Imagine, say, he is able to neural parasite a bunch of these BCs. He might be able to just stack them on one spot and drop a massive file that's going to connect with every single one. I think a play like that one is probably going to be one of the winning moves here for Reynor. If he can make it happen, okay. Wow, that hatchery barely survived, and the BCs also barely escaped.
Well, if you're going to do that, you'd have to know what the number is of shots from a battlecruiser to kill that, right?
It's so niche. I don't even know. Apparently, Maru doesn't even know.
I guess he doesn't know that. But yeah, you look at that and you go, well, that's exactly not the right number. Maybe he thought he'd get some extra shots off before the army came over there. But like that was Maru's big play. It didn't do anything.
I guess the number is 8 and not 7.
Yeah. Everybody knows that. It's 8, of course. Maybe even 9. I didn't see how down it was. Okay, so he's going to come up here. And he does, where those Cyclones actually get the damage. Goes through the little speed booster to get away.
So the income for Reynor now is quite a bit lower, but at the same time, his bank is so big, I don't even think he cares. He's triple expanding right now, re-expanding to the bottom right, and then taking this base on the left side and also in the right center. Adding in some Corruptors as well. It is a bit of a hiccup in the economy here for Zerg, but with this kind of bank, it's really only the gas income that you're feeling the burn on. The concerning thing for me is that Maru, even though the mid game, now I guess the early late game as well, hasn't really been going in Maru's favor thus far, this is the first time that he's actually been able to reach max supply.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've got actually Reynor now at 206 supply. The battlecruisers are going to come through here, and they're just going to absolutely destroy the hatchery here. And I guess he's going to target the main. I mean, taking the hive out would be pretty nice.
Right, how many BC Yamato cannons does it take to kill a hive is what we're going to find out now.
Only the hardcore players know, right? How much do you love this game? Of course that's enough. Nice. Nice pullout.
I love these moves coming in from Maru. They are so cool. I'm not sure if he got the hatchery kill on the right side too, but you know, he has so many orbital commands. He can basically scan ad nauseum here versus the Zerg player, right? And Reynor, with his army composition, needs the Infestors to have an answer for the BCs. Like, Neural Parasite coupled with the Biles, coupled with the Corruptors, is the answer to the BCs. The Ravagers alone don't do it. The Corruptors alone don't do it. They need to work in tandem. And so Maru, when he goes for these plays, like sending the BCs into the top, bottom left side, he can just scan, see where the Infestors are. As long as they're far enough away, he can take the engagement, he can snipe the hive, he can move back away. And he can also check in on the rest of the army and move in for snipes on bases as well, as that's going to be the kind of key here for Reynor to actually just push in. He's trying to force a situation where he can actually take an engagement on his terms because the BCs continue just to pick off bases at the bottom left and the bottom right. Eventually, Reynor is going to get whittled down to nothing, but it's tough to attack into a mech army like this one.
I mean, the only thing I see for Reynor is he's got so much banked up, but like, it does seem like the walls are closing in. Maru's even going to take this center right base, and then these hatches just get sniped. This is like such an abusive way to play the game. I kind of imagined that we were going to see the mobile battle mech with the Cyclones, and even when I saw the battle cruisers, I thought, okay, but eventually it's going to be tanks. I guess in my mind, I always believe you have to end up with tanks because they're such good units, but then I look at this and I'm like, oh, you kind of just do drive-bys over and over again. You're going to kill this off again, even if it's not the biggest kill in the world. It's not like there's a ton of minerals there. It's something. It's going to be more resources spent trying to do that. And Reynor just looks so stuck now. Look at how small he is on the map. He's having a very difficult time taking the one vacant base, and he's not able to really do anything to contest the center right base.
Yeah, just every time Maru moves in with these BCs, notice on the minimap, you can see where the scans are coming in. He just confirms the Infestors are far enough away that he can always teleport back to safety. It's honestly such an abusive move. I love this so much from Maru, because I'm trying to think of what Reynor could possibly do to intercept this, and it just really seems like a Herculean task. I feel like you maybe even need more infestors and just keep some sectioned off on the left side of the map so the scan can't identify exactly where everything is, but the BC count also is so high. How do you afford to have enough army to deal with all of these BCs, plus the battle mech on the right side that is just poking and prodding at every turn?
I mean, these BCs are going to get so much value here. The Corruptors are going to come forward. Remember, you know, these can be sent home, they can be repaired. Even if you're just killing like a spine crawler or an extractor, like that's value over time. And he's basically, if you watch carefully, what he's doing is he's continuously scanning. He's just like not going to get too close to infestors where they can fungal him. So he just keeps scanning. I've never really seen this used, but it's one of those moments, for me at least, where you watch what he's doing and it's like, oh yeah, of course. I guess the battlecruisers are fast enough that burrowed infestors can't do anything. Would it be better to have them unburrowed and just running around, since you're going to be scanned anyways?
I have no idea. It's just such a tough situation. Little skirmishes like this keep going Reynor's way, with the battle mech just getting intercepted by fungals, by neural parasites. These trades over the course of this game have been very cost efficient here for Reynor, but the BCs over the past 5 minutes or so have just been completely devastating. The entire main base is forfeit. The lair now in the natural expansion is potentially going down. The spire is going to fall. Some infestors do pop, but just non-stop scans. He knows that any army that comes to intercept this has to come through this choke point at the natural expansion, and he just makes sure that he is far enough away. Ooh. The moment that Reynor closes the distance, he teleports back to safety. 9 BC hit squad. I don't know really what Reynor can do to deal with this, except have like 5 more infestors and just keep them burrowed in the bottom, like in the bottom left side of the map, and never rejoin the main force with them, because Maru's scans have been so good at just finding where the army composition is, even catching the infestors like this one out. Nice crisis management by Reynor with the neural parasite to mitigate the damage, but that gas bank for Reynor has slowly but steadily gotten depleted.
You know, this is a game where it just feels like Reynor's in quicksand, you know? And there's not a lot he can do about it. You know, the bases in the bottom left, you know, that were mined out, basically, that's still, a lot of tech was lost. Maru now has basically caught up, especially when you look at the gas here. Because, you know, a lot of these are Hellions and Cyclones. They're not that gas intensive, right? So you're fine to trade that out for anything that costs gas, like a Ravager as an example up here. There's another push to the left of this, and he's going to do the same thing. He's just going to kill this hatchery. Look at this. Look at this. I cannot even imagine how frustrating this is to play against. I mean, this is... And, you know, it as you watch it, it makes perfect sense, right? It's like, yeah, that's going to be hard to stop. That's tough to deal with. He scans. He sees the infestors again. He'll just scan again. Just stay out of that range.
It's brutal.
Just keep scanning. He's going to send a CC over here. The CC's going to scout a hatchery and kill it. Don't worry. There's Cyclones coming here, too.
I'm almost at a loss for words right now.
I mean, by the way, I
BCs.
think Reynor's like 100% dead.
Yeah.
I know that there's like a lot of money he's got in the bank, but like what? The BCs have never really been dealt with. Okay, here we go. There should be a fungal here now. No? Yeah, he gets like
fungal
a 1 or 2, yeah.
This is such a funny interaction. I mean, a couple of the BCs do go down. That was one of the biggest wins that Reynor has gotten. But Maru with so much money in the bank, so much gas left in the tank. The early and mid game from Reynor was so solid.
Can we have the player cam for Reynor up? I want to see is that possible to see that? I cannot imagine losing to that.
He's better composed than I would be.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the kind of game that like 99% of the player base loses. They just immediately open up Team Liquid or Reddit and just start writing a post about it. Like,
the only way you can go forward is to like open up a giant jar and uncap it, and then scream all your anger into that, and then cap it closed. That was maybe some of the most abusive stuff I've ever seen in StarCraft II. I have never cast a game like that.
Yeah, no wonder Maru was so good with Protoss in his off race. He's got it in his blood.
Well, it's funny. It's like When you just see that the scans can always keep the battlecruisers safe, and then there's always this, it's not just the BCs, it's the fact that you have these cyclones that come out and kite and pull stuff away, and then fungal's needed for that. I have no idea. I have no idea what to do versus that.
Yeah, I'm also stumped. The only thing that I could possibly think of is just keeping infestors in that corner, but then that's so expensive, just not using a significant portion of your army. And then also you gotta, Reynor has to have a high drone count. Like, how is he gonna deal with everything else on the map? And you still also need the infestors to work in tandem with like the corruptors and the ravagers and everything. That's crazy. I actually do not know what the answer is in that situation there for Reynor. And I feel like Persephone probably is one of, if not the worst map in the pool for Reynor to try and respond to it too, because it's one of the maps where, you know, your opponent spawns in the top left, you spawn in the bottom left. The actual air distance between main bases isn't that great. It's not like it's corner versus corner opposite of each other. It's not a cross spawn. And so for Maru just to completely section off the west side of the map and be like, all right, this is where the battle cruisers are going to roam. They're going to go into the main base. They're going to go into the natural. They're going to potentially attack the triangle base or that expansion on the left side. And then you have the battle mech on the right side, especially with a healing zone too, just to add insult to injury.
That's another factor that really, I mean, it didn't win him the game, but it's like, it gets even worse, actually,
plus
man.
Like the speed zones, like it's the perfect strategy. Like late game strategy, that is just, I can't think of anything that in theory would be better late game on Persephone in TVZ. I actually can't think.
I wonder if you have to have some kind of tech ready ahead of time before they get to that. A lot of times something like that comes out and you got to go, well, you never want the game to get to that point.
Yeah, but the game was already so good for him.
I know.
Like the mid game was so solid. Like how I could understand having like a bad earlier mid game, be like, oh well, the game got out of hand early and then it got out of reach. The BCs got on the map and then we couldn't deal with them. But that was an early and a mid game which looked so good for Reynor. He was like double the cost efficiency of Maru against Battle Mech, which is, you basically never see that in modern ZVT. And then, Maru just rug pulled him with the BC tech switch.
It was crazy because when I saw the BCs made, I thought, well, I don't know about that. I mean, you know, don't they have infestors kind of ready for this? Aren't you almost playing into their tech? And then it's like, well, you're just never going to actually get close to the infestors because you have so many command centers and so much of the map and such a positional advantage that you can just keep scanning. So the infestors never actually catch you.
It's a very funny thing, too, because you're exactly right. The infestors, in theory...
How much faster are infestors above ground? Do we know?
I actually don't know that.
I actually don't know off the top of my... I mean, I know they are faster, though.
Yeah, I don't think it would be very significant.
The reason why I'm asking is that they were burrowed. So it's like, wouldn't it make sense to just not have it burrowed so you can at least run over there? Like, why are they burrowed underground if, like, they're just going to scan you anyways? You don't really care about that anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But then also, if they're burrowed, they don't affect the pathing of the other units, right? So
sure.
Then maybe, because remember he had to move through the choke point of the natural expansion, so that mobility gets a little bit easier. I don't know.
Yeah,
honestly,
know.
I don't think burrowed or unburrowed. I don't think it matters in that game. I feel like the moment that it got to that point,
it's going to be command center gas and barracks again.
Yeah, look at that on kill switch of all maps too. This is one of the most aggressive maps that we have.
I did not expect him to do this. I kind of thought, well, surely he's going to have to try to open up with something more middle of the road, but he's not doing that at all. The Overlord's going to scout it. He'll see the CC is nearly done.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if Reynor can do anything aggressively to try and derail this a little bit. Obviously, he would have to go on to a different branch of the build. Excuse me, for where he's at right now, because he is scouting this with the Overlord. Running up about 2 minutes, but kill switch of all the maps is probably one of the better ones to try and go for some kind of bust play against this Screed, right?
I would think so.
I think it's either this one or it's Evil Heart would be the two that would probably be the best poised for offense here from Reynor.
And Maru's just doing it again.
He's running it back.
Look at this. He's just, again, we don't know that this is going to end the same way or that the battle cruiser tech's coming. We don't even know that it's mech for sure yet, but man, it feels like it is.
I think it should be because going Hellion Banshee early like this one, the Banshee is one of these units where like the only anti-air that Zerg is going to have in the early game will be the Queens. And so it kind of puts a timer on a lot of these rushes. Like should Reynor try to go for a bust, I think he's going to have to go for something like what do they call it, the European taxi, where you get like the overlords with speed and drop, and you get a couple of queens in there.
Oh yeah,
you just full send everything, maybe even dropping speedlings in the main base. That is usually how you see Zergs break down players that go into Hellions and Banshees this quickly. Otherwise, the Banshees eventually will clean everything up, and with 3 CCs, the rebound potential of building 3 workers at a time, plus having just the stable income of mules, which can't be killed permanently, is very beneficial. So we're going to have to see if Reynor does decide to go for that, but it does seem like at least through 4 minutes or so, the builds are basically identical. And even with a Roach Warren coming in, that signals to me that Reynor probably isn't going to be going for a bust. This feels more like a safe, conservative play as opposed to something that's designed to try and break down Maru.
You know, he never really got his turn that game.
Yeah.
You know, he basically sat back, and Maru kept trying to take whatever fights he could, and then the battlecruisers came, and then, you know, after a little bit, it became very clear what kind of game we were in. So yeah, I mean, Reynor just literally can't do what he did the last game. Maybe the map, because it's different, might change that. Pretty soon here. Oh, by the way, it's not going to be mech, so everything we said doesn't matter. It's going to be double eBay with Stim. So he's going to go for a quick third base, probably up into 8 racks. Probably one of the most straightforward TVZ games. Yeah, it's going to be very different.
Yeah, very cool switch up coming in from Maru. As if I'm Reynor in this situation, I am fully expecting this to be another mech game. Is the factory and Starport, I think they're over here, right? No, he actually is going to see the barracks researching Stim. So he knows now. he knows for a fact that this is not going to be mech.
Well, keep in mind, you know, if you didn't see the other barracks, you might think it's a fake. I mean, that's always possible too at this level of play. But yeah, I mean, he's going to see that and have a much better idea of what kind of game this is.
Yeah, and I feel like that bodes a lot better here for Reynor than it does against mech. It's just an easier composition to play against. And considering that Reynor is going for the same kind of greedy response that he did in game number 1 versus Maru, where he's just kind of playing a very safe game. I don't even know if we've had roaches onto the map just yet, even though the Roach Warren is done. So far, it's just the queens here on the defense. Okay, no, we do have a small number of roaches. I was going to say, it's probably going to be, or we do have the potential for it to be, the really fast Ultralisk play that we have seen deployed a couple of times. This doesn't really work that well into mech, but against bio, it can do exceptionally well. And so we're going to have a very greedy 3 bases here from Reynor, trying to keep pace with Maru's economic engine. And I wouldn't be surprised if we just immediately started up the hive once that infestation pit is done. Yeah, there it is. 6-minute hive. So I think it's probably going to be that kind of Ultralisk bust.
Yeah, I think he wants to have, you know, something that can really smash the infantry out here. You notice that Maru's not actually running into the base and trying to kill drones. It's a different game. He's trying to just keep the creep oppressed on the map here because he wants to be pushing out eventually and trying to really dominate on the map. Is that a 4th CC landing there?
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't know why I didn't see that made earlier. Maybe I was too deterministic in how this game was going to pan out. I thought that he was going to go onto 3 bases and push just because of how, you know, how claustrophobic the map feels.
Yeah, it actually is going to be that that 4-base play. Interesting choice coming in from Maru. Second factory is adding on as well, so potential to have a lot more siege tanks here. You know, it might make sense on a small map like this one just to read the situation and be like, you know, here being Maru, Reynor is probably going to try and be aggressive against you, right? Because Reynor just needs to have an army fast enough to deal with a push should it come, because Kill Switch is so aggressively positioned. Like the 3rd and the 4th base distance is so short across map. You have a couple of slowing zones in the very center, but besides that, there isn't too much distance. So for Maru here, if he goes, say, like double factory siege tank coupled with all of these barracks and the fast upgrades, and just says, okay, Reynor, you have to go for this army composition in case I attack you. I'm just going to play defensive with double factory siege tank and make you attack me. That could be a really good way of just weathering the storm of the initial wave of Ultras, which is usually the game ender when you go for this play as Zerg.
Can't quite drop over there. The Spores have that set up where there's no way to really get in and also get back out. Yeah, he's going to go for this exhaust play. More and more command centers coming down here. You're right. He's just going to have so many tanks set up here and be close to the Zerg. And, you know, it's funny. The Zerg have to, like, expand up and down, which is not normal, you know, for a map. You're kind of... Your mid-game bases are sort of facing each other in the middle here. Gets a cancel on that. Actually, I think he might have... No, he did get a cancel, excuse me. Killed all the Marines for that, so... yeah, I mean, Reynor should have an opportunity to really come out here swinging. But I think if he fails to do that, Maru is going to be going for that kind of run the clock play. You know, let them mine out their side of the map. And keep in mind, Maru's basically the best at this in the whole world with Terran. Nobody's even really a close second.
Yeah, Maru is going to be going for that exhaust play. And for Reynor, he's nearing max supply right now. Ultras are on the field. I feel like this is going to be his window to get aggressive. Ideally, before Maru finally does reach that max supply. And luckily for Reynor, I think it is just going to be one factory siege tank. The extra factory is coming in. I think we have 2 more. Will, in fact, be for Widow Mines with drilling claws. So it won't be a high number of siege tanks, which I was thinking maybe Maru would use to try and get some bonus damage done onto the Ultralisks. Instead, it's going to be a little bit of a mix here. And that might mean that Maru is just going to try and slowly take over the center of the map. I didn't even consider this. The Widow Mines are going to pair incredibly well with these slow zones right in the center.
Oh, dude, yeah, of course.
Like, he can just basically control the middle and use that as a staging ground to attack either the base in the top right or the bottom right.
Why did I never think of that before?
I mean, it's a unique map. We never see this kind of thing, right?
Yeah, you're right. Widow Mines are going to be really OP in these slow zones here. Dude, Maru's really bringing it here today. Okay, he's going to attack it now. This is big. We're going to see these slow zones. It's going to be very tough to get on top of these mines in time. The bungles are great. And it seems like there's enough for Zerg, I think, to keep pushing forward. The problem is that there are these tanks staggered so far back. Oh my god, that one Ultra is going to get away.
Ultra's going to survive, but that was a really cost-efficient trade there for Maru.
Yeah.
Reynor wasn't even able to fully unseat him from the center of the map right there.
It was funny because he started to win the fight, and I looked down. I'm like, oh, Reynor's lower in supply. So as good as the initial few hits in looked, actually there's a decent amount here behind this for Terran. So Terran's going to just refill that position. Look at the minimap for a second, guys. The very top is all filled up. I see Ling's headed up there now to try to attack that. We'll see what's actually up there to defend. But this is looking like a really, really stressful position here for Reynor.
Yeah, Widow Mine's being produced 4 at a time right now. And Reynor is going into a much more Ling-heavy composition. I think that makes sense, especially with Baneling speed now finishing. Notably, was not there for that earlier fight. Ling-Baneling could be one of these comps that Reynor runs and just pushes all of his resources into to try and bust down that center of the map. But against this many Widow Mines, especially coupled with the defensive siege tanks, with the slow zones, and even just the architecture of the map here, it's going to be a tall order trying to take this down. Maru has been doing such a good job of planning his builds for the maps in these first 2 games of this best of 5. It's really something to behold. It's like a perfect spread of Widow Mines here in the center.
I'm getting really worried for Reynor here. This just looks, between the fact that, look, the Lings at the top are going to be good. That's going to slow this down, but it's just a couple of units and he can probably reclaim this. At the same time, I mean, the pressure here in the middle is looking so bad. This may come down to also how the bases in the top right and the bottom left are going to look here as well.
Maru just finished another command center at the top left side with that orbital to have a planetary on the front line. He's been so greedy early game with the orbitals, but now he's adding in these planetaries. It makes a lot of sense. And even adding an additional command center, how many CCs is this now? I'm looking at the minimap trying to count them. We definitely have 2 additional ones in the main base. This might be double-digit CCs. And sometimes when you see Terran players go for a play like this one, they'll just kind of sacrifice a significant number of SCVs because they rely more on mules for the income, and that allows them to have a higher army supply. Maru doesn't care, man. He's happy to fight with just 80 armies or 120 army supply, keep 80 workers, and just trade out. And these trades have been so efficient. Even gets the hatchery there.
I think Reynor's put up a better fight here, but the numbers aren't looking good. They're even on bases. Well, I guess that's not true now because a hatchery was sniped, but you know what I'm saying. Zerg needs more than this, and I never really appreciated a turtle play from Terran and how much you can exploit these narrow areas and kind of just come in there and take your fights, and then like a moment like this you go, I don't like this fight, I'm going to run back into the Widow Mines here, and I'm going to have this whole jungle of traps if you try to push any further. And look at this hatch is going to go down, and I think the hatch below it is going to go down here.
Yeah, a lot of bases getting sniped. Big Broodlord switch is coming in here for Reynor. 5 Broodlords in total, coupled with those Infestors.
And whenever you see the Broodlords come out, you got to remember that now the game slows down as far as counterplay stuff from the Zerg, right? Like, Terran could probably now expand to the bottom left here, too.
Yeah, but I think on Kill Switch, this might actually benefit the Broodlords a little bit, because it is a straight shot going from Reynor's side of the map through the center into Maru's side of the map, and maybe Broods are the way that you deal with all the Widow Mines here in these slow zones. You could see Maru, he's already basically retreated, now building Vikings 7 at a time. I didn't even realize we had so many additional starports come in here for Maru. 7 Vikings at a time. There is a timer here for Reynor on this push, because the Ancier just really isn't there for Zerg right now.
Yeah, he's going to try to do this counterattack. And honestly, I mean, it's looking really good.
Yeah.
There's kind of no turning back from this point on here. We have the Vikings coming out. How many Corruptors are there?
Just a very small number.
Yeah.
I think what we see on the screen is basically what we get.
Well, there might be enough Corruptors to actually fight this. Oh, man, these SCVs need to repair this planetary.
Got a lot of action happening right now. Vikings are finally able to shoo away these Broodlords, almost enough to one-shot the Broods.
Oh my god, he loses that. Luckily, he has 3 backup command centers over there.
Dude, Reynor's turning it around a little bit, but this is such a difficult choke point to attack into, especially with the barracks and the factory here on the low ground.
The problem is the Broodlings, Broodlords, I think they're all gone, right? I see Broodlings coming out of something, but you know, now it's oh yeah, sorry, there's 3 over there on the right. I don't know why I couldn't see that earlier. The problem is that, you know, Maru's kind of forcing his way through this. The slow zones make for a pretty painful punish, especially with the Viking shots. You know, the 2 top command centers were killed off, so Maru's actually in kind of a crazy position where he's was knocked down to 3 bases. Again, backup command centers are going to land everywhere and just do a big reset on that. But, you know, that Broodlord tech isn't there anymore. So it's going to be back to the Marauders and Marines and Medevacs, but this is insanely close here.
Yeah, and Maru, the army that he's got right now is much more potent than the one that he had a few minutes ago, too, because his worker count, because Reynor got all the economic damage done on the top left side of the map, we're now going to be pushing about 140 army supply here for Maru, as opposed to like the 120 or less that it was before when his SCV count was significantly higher, and it doesn't even hinder the economy here of Terran all that much because of the additional orbital commands that we have, not just in the main base, but also in the natural, at the 4th, at the 5th. There are just orbitals absolutely everywhere here for Maru, and that's going to be tough for Reynor to deal with. Maru, he's been pretty low on the medevac count. I think that's one of the reasons why he's been a bit slow in terms of pushing across the map, because the bio was just so low on HP. It probably only just now is starting to heal back up.
I think he made too many Vikings here.
Possibly.
Like, you just, you know, he's only got like 20 Vikings right now. So I think had he gotten medevacs here, he could have gone back to kiting. He's going to switch into Liberators, which is interesting.
Yeah, Liberators with Liberator range. I'm not sure how many Widow Mines we have on the field right now for Maru. We do see 2 on the screen right now, but in total, I think the number has thinned out quite significantly. Compared to the Liberators, it could be tough for Reynor to deal with, especially now that Maru has air superiority with this just massive, massive Viking count.
Okay, a huge attack comes in here. There's so many Banelings. He's going to have to spread really, really well, and I don't even know if that's going to be enough. The CC goes down. Maru might not have enough to hang on here. A couple more Lings and a couple more Ultras. The Vikings in the air can't really do much right now.
Those Vikings are going to have to land like a Legacy of the Void cinematic
yeah, right.
to try to take on these Ultras. Maru, I think you hit the nail on the head. He might have overreacted there to the Broodlords. All of the Vikings are going to land. Now, 16 Vikings should do some good damage on the Ultras. Actually, not as much as you might think. One of them will go down. But Reynor, just with a tech switch, going from the Broodlord tech back into heavy ground, has actually been able to break through on Maru. Maru, who is looking so incredibly strong just a couple of minutes ago. I think that he just didn't remax on the right units.
GG.
Wow.
Reynor takes game number 2. What a series we've got so far. I gotta say, I think Maru could have still won that, but it seemed like he went way too hard into the Vikings post fighting back the Broodlings. I think you want to just make a bunch of medevacs.
Yeah, it was actually more Vikings than I even realized that he made. I thought there's no way they're going to have, what was it, like 16 or something there at the very end? It was an insane number.
There was a ton of Vikings back there, and it doesn't really... I think there's a point where you don't want anything more than like, 1 or 2. I think medevacs, liberators would have been fine.
Or even just more bio there on the ground.
Sure, well, anything but Vikings. That's the one unit you don't need there.
Reynor navigated the tech switches so well over the course of that game. Like the very fast Ultra Rush, it stabilized him in the mid game. He was able to get a little bit of economic damage done with it. And then Maru, it felt like he was really starting to claw his way back. He set up the Widow Mines in the center. He had the siege tanks defensively back at home. And then the 5 Broodlords. That was the first major tech switch. Got a lot of damage done. And the overreaction that ensued there from Maru, I kind of have to eat my words, because I said when he hit 140 army supply, oh, his army's going to be way better. I didn't realize, like, 30, 40, the army supply is just purely in Vikings?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
It was one of the best Broodlord tech switches I've ever seen.
And so low commitment too, right? Just enough brews to deal with all the Widow Mines, to push the issue, to be able to breach the center of the map and go into Maru's side. 5 broods in total, and then a full tech switch back into the ground. Very well played there by Reynor.
Guys, consider signing up for the Patreon. Go to Revive SC2 on Patreon or patreon.com/Revive SC2. We want to carry the torch forward here for StarCraft II and have regular tournaments throughout the year. We're doing the season 1 that's online, but we do have an offline one, which we'll be announcing the exact dates for and selling tickets for soon. So any tier you can give, and if you don't have any money, that's okay. We get it. Sometimes people fall on hard times. Just follow the Patreon account. You can get updated on, when the matches are uploaded, any news. So that's just another thing you can do for us. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue on here with this best of 5 with Maru versus the only Zerg left in the RSL, Reynor.
What is this? Oh my God, he's hiding and waiting in there? He waits in the room? Oh my God.
Scary stuff, huh? That little ad there.
Yeah, man, I need my blanket.
Make sure you get a blanket to hide under when you get scared. That'll be next month. I'll be doing a scary game marathon on my stream, on my regular streaming hours, 1:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. KST. So hopefully you guys join me for that if you have time. We're tied up 1-1 right now. And first of all, that win from Reynor was insane. That was really impressive. But I think that Maru could have altered a few things in what he did there and still won that. So I'm still really worried for Reynor in this series.
It's interesting that's your take on it, because I see that game number 2 and I'm feeling a lot more confident in Reynor now in this best of 5 because...
Like, oh, well, now we're fighting. Okay, fine.
No, but it's interesting because you can look at it from both directions,
well,
right?
The Broodlord push was sick.
Yeah.
That was really impressive. Like, that looked so unwinnable when we saw both the hatchery in the middle center and the lower center go down. I mean, it was like a Hail Mary play to get the Broodlords to push across the map and then crush that position. Maru was not being attentive to his 2 top bases there, so the Ultras just tore that apart. But, man, I mean, what Maru is doing right now looks really scary. And he seems to have gone back to that style we were talking about that was really common 5 and 6 and maybe 7 years ago, which was the exhaust play, which made TVZ, I think, basically the longest matchup in StarCraft II. And it seems like we're back to that right now.
Maybe. It certainly does seem that way, and certainly Maru and Reynor are both making very good cases for themselves here in this best of 5. Maru, so far, map number 1, map number 2, late game looking really good, but also just the build order selection on the maps has been very solid, very impressive. But for me, the reason why I feel more confident about Reynor now is I think back to that game number 1, and he navigated the early and the mid game. Oh wait, hold that thought actually. Tasteless, look at it, we got a 12 pool. Reynor, he's like, Maru, are you going to go CC first again? It's a full-on 12 pool.
I like it.
Oh, that's really cool.
So let's watch the minerals now for Maru. Is it going to surpass 150? And so a 12 pool, I mean, this would be the third time in a row we saw Command Center first if that's what's going to happen. And I think he is going to go for barracks.
Ooh.
Oh, man.
That's a feels bad man here for Reynor.
Yeah.
Now, this is probably going to be 2 barracks on the low ground, I would think, given the size of the natural
I think it's going
ramp.
to be the Beyond Reaper opening.
I don't think I've actually casted a game where you 12 pull into this. If we have the second depot come in fast enough, which I imagine it will because you don't have the CC finishing to give you supply, I don't think Reynor could actually push through. Am I mistaken about that?
If the second depot is made down there, that walls.
It's going to wall, but I don't think that Reynor can kill it in time to actually break into the main base. And 12 pool...
No, I don't think so. No, I think this is really bad for Reynor.
Yeah, he's making more lings as well. The Reaper gets started here for Maru. That supply depot critically beginning now with lings about a third of the way across the map.
Now, we want to watch the Reaper too.
Dude, the depot might even finish. It's already halfway done.
I think the depot's done, dude.
Oh, this is brutal here for Maru.
No, it's over. Game 5. Let's go.
Does Reynor even play this one out?
Oh,
wait, that's not a full wall. It's not a full wall. I think it might even need to be one tile up. That might be misplaced. Maru's actually laughing a little bit right now on camera. I think in theory that could be a full wall. Still, it's not an ideal situation for Reynor. Maru, he has very good control, especially with this Reaper, with the SCVs. One worker is going to fall. Reynor is beginning to drone once more. He's still only on 14 drones. He's been building nothing but lings thus far. He might be able to supply cap Maru if he can take down that supply depot and the natural wall in, but with the Reapers done, given Maru's caliber of micro, I don't see this going... I don't see much more damage coming in. He's actually not even going to go for the depot.
Another depot over here.
He's going to try and keep...
So is that misplaced?
I'm pretty sure it's misplaced.
Ziggy's nodding his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so here's the problem is, like, obviously everything else starts up later for Zerg when you go for a bunch of lings early on like that. And, now the Reapers are out in pretty high numbers. I think there's 3. Actually, no, I'm sorry, just 3. I thought it was going up to 5 for a second. He's actually going into Marines. This makes it really hard to... Oh, my God, he's going to get the Overlord, too. Sometimes when rushes get really crazy, that's when you just forget. So Reynor's supply block now. Now, I don't think the Reapers can do much more to actually hurt the Zerg, but you can't take a third hatchery.
Now, Reynor's in dire straits right now.
Yeah.
No third hatchery. His worker count is dreadfully low. He killed, I think, a total 1 SCV for all of those lings lost. There was a long period where Reynor was building nothing but lings. And Maru, what he's doing behind this is actually so exciting. Adding in 2 additional barracks. This is going to be 4 barracks, Marine, I think with Stim and Combat Shield. And with Reynor's hindered economy, I'm not really sure what he could do to just stop a straight-up Marine push. I think this is a very smart follow-up build here from Maru. Out of the plethora of options that he has to navigate the mid-game with this advantage, I think going straight for a kill move with Combat Shields and Stim is a really exciting one. This might even have an SCV pull with it.
Yeah, actually, I hadn't really thought about that, but I think you're right. So, we've seen this before. This is, one of the consequences of the long-ago patched Queen movement speed is that they really can't pursue off of creep, and so you can basically keep chucking these mines. Kind of a misstep there. I think you always want to push it back if possible. Dude, he's going to kill this Queen. Guys?
Oh, this is looking grim. One of the Reapers is going to fall.
Guys, this is really bad. This is so bad. I mean, a Queen getting shot. Stim is about to be done. By the way, this is going to be one of these pushes where there's no medevacs. And I think he can basically get up there before the defenses are really there. This is, by the way, it doesn't come without its own risks because there's no way to get the Marines back home. But, I don't see any more lings out. I see drones making.
Yeah, Reynor has to be greedy in this moment.
I forgot, because the Overlord was killed. He doesn't even see this coming.
Yeah, he has no idea. There isn't going to be an SCV pull. In fact, Maru is macroing behind this, taking up to the factory, getting his +1 infantry weapons. But the sheer amount of damage this group of Marines can get done right here, you can see the look on Reynor's face. He knows this game is just getting a little bit out of hand right now.
I don't know.
That's it, GG.
No fight.
Ah, that's
No
a
battles.
bummer. I wanted to see.
No battles.
I wanted to see those Marines just completely mow down everything, but yeah, for Reynor,
There's a
that's still
scene
just...
in No Country for Old Men where the killer walks into the room.
Anton Chigurh.
Yeah, Anton Chigurh walks in, and they don't show the guy get killed, but you know it happened. Mm-hmm. That's what that was.
Yeah,
they
that's
just
actually...
cut, and you went, well,
Yeah.
you're not like, what happened? Did he get away?
There's just no way to deal with it. You can't fault Reynor at all. I mean, he went 12 pool, expecting another CC first. It wasn't a CC first, and even with the depot misplaced, Maru takes like the depot being displaced caused
when that Lings got there, I was so
damage.
confused because I'm like, well, how big is that entrance? Like, it feels like no one should be able to expand there if that's the case.
Yeah, that's...
misplaced depot from Maru.
It doesn't really matter though with that build against the 12 pool. I think that's why Maru had that big hearty laugh. He's like, oh well. It's one of those things. You ever misplace a building and a wall in? And you're like, oh, it's like I could cancel and like pay the 25 minerals and build it in place, but like it's probably not going to matter. Like, what are the odds it's actually going to matter?
And then it matters in that game, and you go, well, this is okay.
Yeah, that's the moment that Maru was living with.
I guess I'll experience this again in like a year. When I make this mistake one more time.
Yeah, but for Maru, I mean, going 2-Rack Reaper in that situation, like.
No, that's a build order win.
It totals 1 SCV going down, even with a depot misplaced.
And funnily enough, the fact that the Lings got in because of the misplacement also led to Reynor not being attentive to the Overlord.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he probably got there and went, what? And then he just, okay, I got to go for it. So then the Overlord's killed, so then you don't even see the push coming out.
Mm-hmm. Might have also anticipated additional Reapers. It's only 3 into the Marine push was... Yeah, nice switch up there from Maru, but really, Maru was just dealt a winning hand the moment that the build order was kind of played out there in the early game. He just decided how he was going to close it out, opted for the 4 barracks play, and that was that. Now we are match point here as we head on over to Cenotaph, one of the newer maps that our Patreon supporters voted in.
Yeah, I love this map. This is, again, guys, if you join our cause here, we do take votes on the maps, which I think has made our tournament very interesting. Yeah, man, I'm worried for Reynor. I do want a Zerg to get, deeper than they've gotten in this tournament. But it's looking tough. So fingers crossed here for Reynor. Hopefully we get a 5th game no matter what.
Yeah, keep in mind, winner of this game, or not winner of this game, excuse me, winner of the series is going to move on into the lower bracket semifinal versus the winner of Cure versus Trigger. This is the lower bracket. If you lose here as Maru or Reynor, you are out of the RSL Season 2. By the way, look at this. Maru, CC first game 1, CC first game number 2. Game number 3 versus the 12 pool. He goes 2-Rax Reaper, and now that failed for Reynor, I mean, like the game 3, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go CC first again. There's no way that you 12 pool me again after it fails in game number 3.
Game number 4 here. Oh, you mean...
Yeah. After it failed in the previous game. Like, there's no way Reynor's going to 12 pool here in game number 4. Just go for the CC first again. Dude, Maru is so cool. I love the greed. I think he might be the greediest Terran player of all time. Well, it's so fun.
Well, he is today. He is today for sure. We have the pool finishing, and the hatch started. And so, how ready is Maru going to be with this? We have 4 Lings. We'll go up to 6. The Queen obviously starts here as well. Now, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what exactly does Zerg want to do to really punish this build. Link speed has started, by the way.
Yeah, 2 more drones and gas. So it's not going to be a 12 pool for that early push into the Terran. Instead, this might be something more aggressive. I wonder if it's probably going to be a Baneling Nest, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure what exactly he wants to do here. The factory is starting here as well.
Oh, it's a Roach Warren coming in. All right.
Okay. So maybe just a 2-base Roach push here. To try to just come in here and do the damage. Now, a lot of this will depend on what Terran gets right away. Are we going to have that 3rd CC started here? What kind of factory tech is going to be available? And, this is a very basic, straightforward rush, but I think considering how Maru's played, it's very warranted. It makes sense to weave this into the best of 5.
Yeah, and Maru's going back to his tried and true super fast 3rd CC follow-up to the CC first, so... This is a very greedy build here from Maru. 6 Roaches immediately get queued up. And from here on out, probably going to be nothing but Lings rallying across the map here for Reynor.
Okay, so it's going to be 2 Hellions here. which are not going to be that helpful versus Mass Roach. Usually with this build, you get a kind of squad of roaches, and then you make lings behind it. And the roaches deal damage, and the lings are basically there to tank. And I mean, right now, Terran does not look very safe.
Dude, double engineering bay before starport as well. He's not even going to have the rabbit up the sleeve of the Banshee to try and put a timer on this. And so these Hellions are going to move cross map, and they are potentially going to run into the roaches and the lings. What is the path that Reynor is taking? Maru does see that this is a speedling, the invincible speedling. He's going to come back because the lings are already in the natural expansion, and now the roaches are revealed. And Maru, he has one barracks with no add-ons, one reactor at factory making Hellions, and double engineering bay upgrades coming in. How can you possibly survive this push here as Maru?
I can't believe he was this greedy. I think the game just ends.
I feel like it basically has to.
I think it just, I mean, now this is different from the other No Country for Old Men scene. This is really more like we get to watch him talk to the guy in the cowboy hat for a while before he shoots him in the face. That's more what this is. GG. Okay.
All right, game number 5. Maru getting rechecked a little bit here, and I like the switch up from Reynor. In game number 3, he went for the 12 pool, which it's going to be a CC first, but again, it's like basically any other standard opening that Maru does. Reynor is going to be in trouble, and that's what we saw with the 2X Reaper. But that was game number 4 going into the Ravager push with Mass Speedling. I like that a lot because I feel like even if Maru were to play some kind of more like standard opening on the low ground with Reapers, he's still going to be super greedy behind it. That's just been his MO this entire series.
It's funny, like, we have that commercial break, they digest the previous 2 games, and then we have these crazy explosive games. Is Reynor going to go for a rush again? I don't think Maru can be this greedy anymore. I mean, that was so insane. His base was wide open, double eBay, command center on low ground. It's a big wide berth to the entrance there, and, you know, that's one of the most common rushes you can ask for, you know, lings into a lot of roaches, into mass lings. I don't know. Tokamak.
Yeah, Tokamak here for set number 5. One of the more standard maps that we've got in the pool. If Maru wants to be greedy, it should be easier to defend here on some of these other maps that we've had thus far, but honestly, the map choices haven't really been hindering Maru too much in terms of the greed. He still went for that CC first on kill switch, remember. We'll see what he's going to do here in Tokamak as set number 5 is loading up. The winner of this series is going on to the lower bracket semifinal. The loser is out of the RSL.
Okay, so I guess we just wait. You know, what is the opening going to be here? Depot at the entrance.
It's almost certainly going to be 2 Rax Reaper again.
Yeah. Now, okay, not surprising. This does feel like kind of the alteration you'd make after losing a game like that. What does Reynor do? Because Reynor has not made a pool yet, which means he has to make a hatchery.
He's thinking about it.
Wait, hold on. He sent that back.
Oh, he's thinking about a couple things right now.
Okay, never mind.
Gonna be gas first, so running it back
it's a
little bit.
Like he heard me say that. He's like, no, I don't. I can actually make 3 more drones and an extractor. Tasteless. So he's going to go extractor, spawning pool. This is going to be the double Rax Reaper that State mentioned a second ago.
Yeah, be unpopularized this. I want to say like 2 years ago now.
Yeah,
and it was so fun watching it develop because... Oh, no, go ahead, Tasteless.
No, I was gonna. Yeah, I think I was going to say...
The exact same thing,
I'm sorry
probably.
to interrupt you, but I was going to say the exact same thing. Yeah, to see him kind of come out with this build, and it was very much his own style, and then everybody kind of picked up on it. It was like, oh, this is actually a good way to approach this. And, you know, when you go for quick pool, your 3rd hatchery is late, or later. And so you can be punished by this. There are iterations of this where you make 3 Reapers. There are ones where you get a lot more, but I'm a little bit worried here. I think Reynor needs to have a really healthy, strong, early game to have any viability in the mid game and especially the late game.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if he even wants to take a fast 3rd hatchery. He might get play aggressively again here in game number 5. And one of the big tells is going to be whether he pulls off of gas right now after starting Ling's speed, and it seems like he doesn't. Maybe 1 drone in total as that gas is trickling up very slowly here. But I think this is potentially going to be a Ravager Ling bust again. And against Maru, just given the fact that, it's actually three drones still on gas. Roach Warren getting thrown down.
Here we go.
Maru's going for the fast, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. I thought it was a third command center for a second.
He's so greedy. It's a 2-minute, 20-second third CC.
Excuse me. No, there is a potential for Reynor to get some big damage done because of the nature of the map. Because Terran add-ons are always on the right side of the structure, Maru being down here in the bottom left means they're going to be extra exposed. And so that Reactor and Tech Lab are both going down here in the natural expansion. In theory, a lot of the leading Terrans, such as Byun, say that if you execute perfectly, you still are able to defend those add-ons against this kind of Roach Ling push. But that execution is very hard to do. Maru, by the way, behind this, adding in 2 additional barracks. So he's not taking up too greedily. He's not going into a third command center too quickly. He's going to have a lot of production.
Yeah. I'm not sure how this interaction goes. Remember, the add-ons are on the outside, by the way. Which, it's one of the few things where one side of the map is better than the other. Is technically, you're, in situations like this, always stronger on, like, the right side of the map if your add-ons point inwardly because of this. Because, like, see, you can hit the stim over here. And honestly, man, not having stim, when a rush like this hits, that could be game. Well, hold on. He's going to make more drones. He's making a couple more drones, excuse me. He is getting the Ravagers here.
Yeah, this might just be a pressure play from Reynor.
Yeah, he's not committed. I take it back. I guess I decided because of what he did in the last game, he had to do it this time, too.
I think it's a very smart decision, too, honestly. Just take the guaranteed damage right now. You know you can most likely deny these add-ons for an extended period of time until that bio ball gets big enough that it can really challenge you here in front of the main. And this is going to hinder the build order of Maru quite significantly. It's also damaging the economy. Reactor, it's a long build time. It's very expensive, especially here in that early game. Even getting a couple of SCVs is going to take down a depot, and behind it, nothing but drones. Now, the counterpunch here from Maru could potentially be scary a couple of minutes down the line, because he is on 4 barracks right now. There isn't a factory on the field. It's nothing but barracks production. Yeah. And with concussive shells, if he's able to get the connections onto these Ravagers, those could get taken down in a hurry, and the follow-up push could be very deadly. Gotta be careful here as Reynor.
It's crazy what Reynor can do with this. It just shows you how abusive this can be. Remember, there's no stim. There's concussive, but no stim.
That concussive is done. Is Maru gonna be able to get the connections?
Dude, he's playing so perfectly. He's actually gonna come in here and try to hit this barracks again. This is so crazy.
Oh, he's gonna get a kill.
Yeah.
And Maru is supply blocked. Honestly, this pressure on the front has been much more of a headache for Maru than I was expecting it to be. With a 4 barracks production online, you really don't think it's going to do that much.
I didn't appreciate, just that small number of Roach Ravager that would actually cause that much damage and kill that many SCVs and stop that many upgrades. So there's a lot of distance that's been created here, and he's going to throw so many more racks down.
Wow, 6 barracks coming in from Maru. All right, we are not going to have a tech up. We're not going to have an engineering bay.
It's probably going to be SCVs pulled with this.
I think it has to be, right? Tech lab for combat shields, for stim, get a good number of Marauders, and then I think just pump the Marine button.
Pump that Marine button.
Pump that Marine button, dude. You got to hook up one of those foot pedals to your computer.
That's
use it as a hotkey. Just
you
keep pressing that thing down.
Little DDR pad underneath your table and set all the arrows to M and just spam it out.
One of my old teammates in the early days of Wings of Liberty was very good at StarCraft II, but was also a competitive rock band player. Would set world records, the first perfectest song, the highest difficulty.
I'm like, you mean a musician?
No, I always try to get him to set up a foot pedal like a hotkey. You never did it. I would love to see it, but
I would love to see that. So Stim's going to be done. That should be when you send everything.
Are we going to have the SCV pull?
I'm putting everything on the line in this cast. Here we go. I knew it.
If the SCV pull doesn't happen,
we
are
should think
fools.
I'm smart. So it's going to be a huge clash here in the middle of the map. The boys have been pulled. We are the boys. Pull us. They're coming out. That sounds terrible. All right. Well, we're off of YouTube. Well, guys, sorry about that.
Account has been demonetized.
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, guys. You thought this was an esports channel on YouTube.
Oh, look at this! Oh, there's no one in the main base. I mean, there's a lot of barracks to reinforce, so the production should be able to get wind of this, but all right, big stim coming forward. SCVs now here on the front line. No Bailings to quickly take down these Marines or SCVs. Keep in mind, Reynor has a lot of Lings on the other side of the map. That's going to mean the front line here for the Roaches and the Ravagers. It's very thin. Maru, he's charging forward. He's down to 18 SCVs back at home. Lost 17 SCVs in total. Is he going to go for another stim? There's no medevac healing here. The Bio's getting so low on HP. Tasteless. I think Reynor has done it. GG. Maru is knocked out of the RSL Season 2, and the only Zerg in the RSL standing is going to survive to play another series. Wow, what a finish.
That was sick. What an ending. There was so much for Terran, but yeah, you don't have any heal. You just need enough stuff hatching around that army, and you can eventually overwhelm that. And the Ling counterattack was sick. I didn't see that coming. For some reason in my head, I thought you had to have everything ready with that many Raxes and an all-in like that when the SCVs are pulled. Because if you had even anything counterattacking like that, then you're not going to have enough to actually hold that off. But Reynor, I mean, really good game sense there.
Yeah, that was cool. Honestly, going for the 3 aggressive builds in a row was just excellent planning in the best of 5. Seeing the greed from Maru in game 1 and game 2, I think you hit the nail on the head with him, taking that break. We had a 5-minute break in between set number 2 and set number 3, and Reynor potentially reevaluated. It's like, you know what, let's change the game plan a little bit. Let's not go for the mid game. Let's not go for the late game. Let's try and eke out an advantage early, and that's going to carry him into the lower bracket semifinal.
Reynor might win this whole thing. What are the Zerg players going to do then? What are they going to say then when the only Zerg still wins this?
Cabal, yeah.
But it's about how the game happens in my mind.
Guys, support us on YouTube.
Let's say it together. We say the same thing every time. Ready? We really need to grow this thing.
I'm doing it like half a second behind you. It's not working.
And if you need, we need to get this out there.
This is too complicated now, Tasteless.
Yeah.
We gotta get a script.
My name's State. Sorry, I'm trying to just say what he says.
It doesn't work if I'm just parroting you like a second later. But honestly, guys, if you could go to the YouTube and give us a couple likes, leave a comment, maybe support the channel. We would love to get
subscribe.
A little bit deeper into the algorithm.
Bell. We haven't said that one. Turn on the notification bell.
I said that, Tasteless. You weren't listening.
No, I wasn't. Sorry. Just like our casting, State. We're going to go to a short break, guys. When we come back, we're going to return with Trigger versus Cure. We'll see you soon. Go inside. Go inside. No! Ah! Oh! Go. Go. Oh, God! Ah! Oh, my God. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are going to go to the second half of the bracket here. It's going to be a TVP here with Cure versus Trigger.
Yeah, Cure versus Trigger. And you know what, Tasteless? Now that Maru's been eliminated from the RSL, Cure is the only Terran standing.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
We might have a Cure versus Reynor elimination match where one of the races is eliminated.
Oh, that's right. I was for a second, I was like, no, because Reynor won. And then I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lost.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun.
I had spent so much time. You know what's funny? I had spent so much time thinking about the fact that we only had one Zerg left. I had not actually considered that. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we can imba wine in the other direction.
Yeah, we certainly can.
Isn't this nice?
Yeah, it is nice.
Isn't this special?
Honestly, I think this is going to be a great match. Cure versus Trigger.
Yeah.
Cure, I would say a couple of years ago, just felt like this TVP specialist who seemed unstoppable in the matchup. It felt like he was even better than Maru in Korea at TVP in particular. There was maybe only Clem globally that was perhaps surpassing Cure's ability. But as it is right now, I feel like, obviously the state of Terran and PBT, it is not what it once was. Protoss players have been a lot more successful with energy recharge, the hallucination scout coming in, the extra durability on the shield battery, energy recharge also for storms has led to more aggressive potential, better defensive potential. Protoss just all around much stronger in this matchup. Terran players around the world are struggling, but also Cure in particular, to me, compared to where he was a year or two ago in TVP, it feels like, I almost have whiplash watching him play PvT now. You know, it feels like Kira would favor against basically anybody in TVP heading into, you know, current year. I see him versus a Trigger who just continuously looks stronger. Even before the patch, last year was looking stronger and stronger. And I'm wondering who actually is going to be able to come on top, because on paper, Trigger, probably a very big underdog, but I don't know, man. He's been playing really well recently. He's had a great run in the RSL thus far. He took down Byun 3-1 earlier on in the tournament. And for Akira, who might not be as good at TVP as he was in the past, this could be a hurdle.
This is interesting. He's going to go out here with a proxy Rax. Or maybe this is an eBay block, actually. Hold on a second.
I feel like it has to be a barracks, but
from where it's going, it should be a barracks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's only one SCV?
Probably a Reaper opening.
Yeah. And I guess there is this little landing pad for a barracks over there. I hadn't really... Oh!
You're kidding. You're kidding! Does that see it? Dude! Trigger's so smart.
Trigger.
Sometimes you see these new maps like this. Oh, he's pulling 3 probes. Is that going to get there in time? I think it might. The barracks are only halfway done.
I think it does.
It might depend on the RNG of the SCV.
The SCV, you have to pray the SCV just goes to the outside. Oh, Cure is having a bad day. Okay, and he goes back in.
Oh, it can still hit it. It can still hit it. Oh, that sucks. That's so bad here for Cure. Oh, no.
You can't emphasize how bad this is, because, I mean, first barracks denied. It wasn't even like it was spotted early in the attack where you can cancel and go, okay, whatever. I'm going to do something else now.
It's denied like 75%. That
that's
so bad. I think it's really smart, by the way, that he hasn't canceled it just yet, because the minerals actually don't impact Cure's build at all up until this point. But because it's 75% done, Trigger had to keep those 2 probes on the map for an extended period of time in case another SCV came in to finish it. And so Kira just delaying the cancel until he's ready to build the command center allows him to get just a little bit more value. You know, maybe that's like 50 or 60 minerals that Trigger could have mined with the probes, but instead is down the drain. Mitigates some of the damage. If you're wondering why the barracks had not yet been canceled, that's why. And actually, it's not even going to be a fast orbital behind this. It'll be 2 gas factory and a delayed second CC. Excuse me, I've been casting too many Maru games. Just keep saying third CC now.
Well, look, I mean, I think there's a world where Kier can play this out, but this is painful. This is, you know, the worst way to start a series. And great sense from Trigger to do that. Clearly, this is like a trending build in practice. You know, you don't see a lot of maps where there is. You know, I was calling it kind of a landing pad, but you know, just such a little nice, safe little spot to put a command center, a barracks where you could basically hide it there and even put units behind it when it lands to keep it safe there too. So, you know, it's maybe a little bit too much of an on-the-nose strategy for what the map is. The Trigger just decided to check for it and spotted it. So now there's some pressure coming in here. Now there is a third command center started, but let's keep in mind, Trigger is on his second base. He's mining from it already. He's making probes. We don't really have much to defend here right now. There's an Adept and there's Stalkers out here.
Is he going to try and defuse the Widow Mine with the Adept Shade? Show me your skills, Trigger. All right, Kira is going to unburrow. Funny little micro game that you could do here with the Adept. If it fires on the Adept right before the Shade triggers, the Adept can't actually dodge the shot. We'll see if Trigger's going to go for that again. It's a very small window. It's one of the reasons why you don't see players go for it particularly often. Usually you just have too many spinning plates back at home or elsewhere on the map, so Trigger is just going to back off. And behind this for Trigger, he's going to throw down another pylon, immediately gets spotted here by this Reaper, so that probe will fall. But the development is pretty normal. He went for the relatively fast Twilight Council. We have 1 Robo coming in. I think this is 2 gateways already done for Trigger. I believe I heard 1 finishing into the natural expansion. So
I think he just wants to go for the Blink Stalker pressure build. The command center is so late, so everything kind of comes out later, right? If you can defend versus the drops, get a Warp Prism out here and try to move out on the map, I think you're going to be in pretty good shape. He starts the Warp Prism, by the way. Blink is 80% done.
And Trigger is getting in position to try and intercept the drop. Doesn't know exactly where it's going to come from just yet. Although this pylon very well placed. Trigger with excellent SimCity so far on this map and also scouting. Really nice response. Man, if Blink was just a little bit faster. I guess it would have taken 2 Chrono Boosts to get it there in time to deal with this drop, but Still not too bad. And now with additional gateway finishing up, Tasteless, I think that blink pressure you mentioned earlier is going to start.
I think this makes a lot of sense. I think there's 2 tanks out, right? Or is there just 1 out?
It might just be the one.
So you need about 3 to hold off the blink stalker, pressure. And I see 1.
The second one just now finished. Sure, actually able to get in here before that bunker is done.
Kind of a weird engage to go for 2 SCVs. I think he would have been better served just going into the main. Now the tank is set up. You can see that there's a wall up here above the tank. This is what everybody does now. Okay, is he just going to go... Oh, hold on a second.
Yes.
Cure's pretty smart. He actually keeps the Marines kind of pushed back. Trigger is going to be hit pretty hard.
Nice micro to pull away the probes, is able to deal with that situation. Warp Prism is going to go into the main base with 4 Stalkers, going to try and find what damage it can. 4 Stalkers can one-shot SCVs, so this Engineering Bay SCV and the Supply Depot SCV both get taken out. Supply Depot also in danger, but Trigger deciding to play it safe. Just going to pull back for now. The 3rd Nexus nearing completion. How much more is Trigger to be able to get done? I feel like the window is closed, more or less, for this harassment to start, and I'm expecting Trigger to really begin powering up at home in a moment. As soon as that 3rd base finishes, minerals get saturated here at the 3rd. He's setting up to have a lot more gateways, and yeah, there they are.
Okay, he's just keeping this pressure on. You got to make sure you don't overextend too much or let the Stalkers have too much damage on them. Obviously, they can't repair or heal. And so we're just seeing the pressure here build. Now, Cure was up to a late start because of the catastrophe of being spotted early with the very first barracks that was going to float up into the main. So he's going to try to get some extra shots in here with the auto turret, which I think is not a bad idea. You're always going to get at least 2 probe kills, although apparently not that time.
It's nice some mining. For the cost of energy, it's not too bad here for Cure. And
there was no 3rd CC, right?
I don't think so. I'm looking at the minimap. I don't see a big square for a 3rd CC, so I think it's still just two base here for Cure. And on Trigger's side of things, it's kind of interesting the way that he's developed. He hasn't taken a 4th gas, so he's not going in the Templar just yet. And instead, he's going up to 7 or 8 gateways with +1 ground weapons, with charge, and made an Immortal. So his army is going to be really strong. And besides that Immortal, it's going to be very mobile as well in the center of the map.
So he saw that, assuming he was looking. Now, with Blink Stalkers, this would be an incredible thing to intercept. But instead, he's going to come in here, and he can just drop on top of this tank and maybe do another warp-in? That's so funny.
Feels like a Brood War move.
I was going to say, it looks like a little Brood War drop on a siege tank. Now, meanwhile, this bigger drop is inbound here.
I don't think Trigger actually spotted it, by the way.
I don't think so, but he's going to have another opportunity to see this. Does he recall the Stalkers? No, he's just going to get enough to try to fight this here now. Meanwhile, Cure's going to push, and he's going to actually do a pretty good job. I mean, this is a very awkward drop here for Cure because he saves the medevacs, but at the expense of the units that were there to drop. There's an attack coming in here. I think Trigger might have enough. We got to see. Cure needs to have a really good position. I don't know why the tanks were going backwards for a second there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Cure committed to that drop in the main base. I guess he just really wants to get aggressive here and is trying to push Trigger back. Keep in mind, Trigger, no Templar, no Storm. It's going to be pure Gateway Army. So he's trying to intercept. Actually, a big SCV pull coming in from Cure. It's going to run through the healing zone. So getting a little bit of a top-up right there on the HP. As Trigger's trying to move into this awkward position to intercept reinforcements. The 1 sentry able to take down, or stop, I should say, that push coming in with the force fields is so clutch. That's the entire SCV front line eliminated here for Cure.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking so bad for Cure right now.
Templar
Trigger has done one of the best jobs basically curbing progress of this push. This push was already supposed to be hitting the 3rd like a while ago. It's only about a little bit over halfway across the map. He's got 2 more tanks with a bunch of more infantry coming here, but there's so many Zealots. I think Storm is done, by the way.
I think it's still being researched,
I'm sorry,
so he's just morphing in Archons right now. He knows that he just needs full power to be able to stop this thing. Wow, even dodging the Widowmine shots right here with the Warp Prism. Now, that's a very good concave there for Cure. You got to be careful here as Trigger. One of the ways you can lose the game from this position here as Protoss is if you just get guided to oblivion with a Zealot-heavy army, but that's going to be Trigger blinking forward. I think he has enough that he can just chase this down even with the kiting here of Cure.
Yeah, I don't see any way Cure can make this work. Okay, there was a drop in the main. I didn't catch that, but only 4 dead probes. This is compared to the 23 that were fed into the Protoss meat grinder, trying to move across the map.
Oh, and a Doom Drop coming into the main base as well.
I hate it when people call it Doom Drop.
Really?
It's like
what do you want me to call it,
I don't know,
Tasteless?
a big drop?
How is that better than Doom Drop?
Doom Drop? Come on, guys.
How is that better than Doom Drop?
What is it? Is this a comic book from the 70s?
You want me to call this a big drop?
A huge drop. Look at the thesaurus out here. A massive drop. Well, he denies that. It was a doom deny, as State would say. I've been calling it Doom Drop forever, and every time I hear it, I'm like, ugh.
That's a big deny.
Yeah. We say big deny, right? That's right. A huge deny.
I still think the writing is kind of on the wall right now here for Kira. He's playing so Marauder heavy. This is one of the ways that Kira really likes to navigate his army composition, always has in TVP, is to play basically with as many Marauders as Marines. He really favors the tech labs over the reactors, but Trigger's got 4 Immortals in his composition right now. Storm is finally done. Kira's made the best out of a bad situation for the better part of like 5 minutes now. But I think eventually Trigger is going to be able to eke this one out. GG is called.
Pretty great game from Trigger. Great start, great finish. I think my favorite part was how he just held off the SCVs being sent in there.
Yeah?
Just no way to get anything done. Yeah, I mean, if you can ninja a couple force fields there as the reinforcements to the SCVs are trying to merge in and shave that off, that's a lot of times all that you need. Even though Kira looked really strong, and for a second it looked like he might have taken it when he kind of arced out, Protoss has bought enough time.
Yeah, and I like the approach there from Trigger, too. It was a little bit off meta. He stayed on 3 gases for, I think, the majority of that game. I don't know when he took a 4th one or if he did, but at that point I'd stopped paying attention because it was all about the micro and the control. But going for that kind of style where he gets the fast 3rd base, stays on the 3 gases, and thus is really leaning heavily into the mineral income. So he plays with a lot more Stalkers, a lot more Charge Zealots, a lot more Gateways. It's one of the more fun ways to play this matchup, in my opinion. It's kind of an older style of PBT.
Sure.
But I feel like it's something that usually doesn't work if the Terran player plays correctly, but just the fact that Trigger was able to get so much momentum in the early game, denying that early barracks, I think it makes perfect sense. It simplifies the game a lot. You don't have a situation where, even though Storm is really good, if Terran hits a critical timing and you do whiff all the storms, that is a way that you could lose a game from a winning position. So just playing with massive army value is going to be Trigger taking game number 1. We're going to go to Ultra Love here for map 2. Trigger with a strong start, but we haven't really seen what Kira has.
Well, one thing I do notice is that Kira clearly wants to win in a shorter game. I mean, the proxied barracks definitely, a signal that you want to try to get some damage in. Committing to the 2-base play, which we've seen him do before, I think it also makes sense. The problem is I think Protossers are very good at stopping that. You basically identify, okay, is there an attack coming? Well, then all I have to do is stop that. And if there isn't, then all I have to do is play a very passive game and get that splash damage. We're going to go to Ultra Love here. I think we might have had a crash, actually.
Yeah. I'm looking at the game load-in screen, and one of the players is like halfway through, so it might be one of those situations where they just need to restart the client and then get back into the game. Yeah, Trigger's got his hand on his chin there for a moment.
So right now, Trigger up in a 1-0 lead in this best of 5, where the winner of this is going to face off against Reynor, the only Zerg left.
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting match, too. Honestly, whether it be Kira or Trigger, both of the storylines are so interesting to me. I mean, Kira just the lone Terran surviving right now in the RSL. Maru just got eliminated there by Reynor. Kira, I think that his TVZ, it's been weird because I always felt like TVZ was maybe his worst matchup and TVP was his best, but over the past, 12 months or so, it feels like it has completely switched. I remember at EWC when we were watching Kira versus Serral. Serral did win that series. I don't believe he dropped a map in that series, but I was watching it and heading into that one, I actually thought that Kira had what it would take to take down Serral. And if you watch those games, it was so close, so much closer than the map score indicated.
Yeah.
Every game Serral just barely survived. His TVZ is top notch.
Yeah, I mean, he looks really good. I feel like a lot of times Kira is a couple of adjustments away from being the best player in the world. He's always been so good. Obviously, being a Korean Terran with Maru ever in the picture, that takes casts a pretty big shadow. But yeah, I mean, he looks really, really strong. It does seem like TVP right now is a problem, not just for him, but for a lot of the Terrans out there. It seems like Protosses have really kind of figured out how to stabilize. You know, for a long time, Protoss has really had a hard time in the early game.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to balance, isn't it? I remember when the patch notes came out and they removed... Well, they added energy recharge, they removed battery overcharge. A lot of people saw the patch notes, myself included, and were like, well, that probably isn't going to change very much. You know, like they made the shield battery a little more durable as a result. Energy recharge. It's kind of like you got Kadarian Amulet back, but in total it's, what, like 100 energy per minute if you're using it off cooldown all the time. So it's not that big of a deal. Although, of course, having it on hand is good. But then the actual result comes out and it's like, well... If Protoss wants to, they can just make a sentry and scout everything with hallucination for free. You know, they get 2 hallucinations. Sure. The second one comes in the moment the first one expires, and you can just get all of the intel. There's no more subterfuge from Terran that's possible should they decide to go for it in sentry. And then the Storm change with energy recharge actually was way more significant than I think people anticipated.
Yeah.
And it's very much flipped the matchup on its head. And yeah, it's a little bit painful, especially at the top level for some of these Terran players right now.
Well, this happens in matchups, and you know, we got to see will it be patched and fixed? Is it more about I don't know, another approach to the game? I mean, I think your analysis was broken down pretty well, but it seems like it's tough, right, for the Terran to have any kind of curveball they can throw or surprise move, unless it's like in the immediate, like a floating barracks in the main.
Yeah, and honestly,
we saw in that last game.
For me, one of the most exciting aspects of TVP is the fact that Protoss, the scouting information actually is pretty limited in the early game, and you don't know what Terran is going to throw at you, because there was this whole era for the majority of StarCraft II's history where Terran could do any variety of a Swiss Army knife build orders that each hone in on harassing you or culminate in an attack in a very specific way that requires a very specific response. And I loved kind of the cat and mouse game of the Protoss player trying to figure it out and then defuse the plan before it's executed, or has to respond on the fly unprepared. And yeah, the energy recharge, although we don't see the sentry scout with hallucination quite as often as we did maybe a couple of months ago, that's one of the changes that I am the least a fan of. As a result, I really do enjoy the aggressive dynamics of PvT. And by the way, speaking of aggressive dynamics...
Yeah, this is a super close probe.
We're going to have a second proxied gateway or something? What is this?
Yeah. I think it's like a Max Pax gate.
Yeah. Is this the actual... it's been so long since the Max Pax build was like a thing that I actually forgot how to build, like how the Max Pax build works. For whatever reason, I thought it might have been the first gateway that's proxied, but I think you're right.
No, it's the second gateway that's proxied, yeah.
What a throwback.
I didn't think Trigger was going to do this at all, but, you know, this could really blindside Cure. Sometimes we talk so much about what one race needs to do that if the other player just comes in, does something, it's like such a wrench in the gears of whatever you're trying to do. And, you know, a lot of these games, I'm sorry, they go for gas, and then they put a command center on the low ground, right? Yeah. That's why we have 2 SCVs out here chasing this around. He's like, oh, look at me. I got to slow you down. Look at me. Oh, no, a command center. He doesn't care. He's going to hit this, and this could be a forced cancel.
We're going to have a Zealot.
That's right. I said it. A forced cancel.
Oh, Cure. He's actually going to scout this. Oh, that is crazy here for Cure. Okay, what's the response going to be? Do you throw it on the bunker immediately? Do you cancel the CC? All right, it's a command center cancel.
Wow.
I think
that still sucks, man. That's still painful.
It is, but this is an expensive investment here for Protoss as well.
Can you like enhance the proxy from here? Is there like, can you do something weird like put a robo here and try to, or like I don't know, anything, Stargate?
Maybe, but I feel like it's better just to try and expand and play the macro game from here. You already got the indirect economic damage done of delaying the command center, of forcing the cancel. I think it's mostly done its job. Ideally for Trigger, this wouldn't have gotten spotted, and he would have forced a cancel or gotten a deny much later, and thus further impacting the Terran economy. But I think that Trigger's going to be happy with this. He's going to transition into a relatively normal game.
Again, an uncomfortable start here for Cure. Maybe the best of an uncomfortable start, though. You know, had he not spotted that command center, at least he was able to change course. So this is a tech lab being made, by the way. He's going to go for a Cyclone. So he's basically going to look for a fight at the bottom of his ramp, and maybe he can try to extend that fight to the Protoss's natural.
It's a good way to try and get some map control back versus these Stalkers. The Marines certainly can't do it. Not until they get support by some of these factory units.
Looks like there's a dead bird by this ramp. This like bird just crashed and is dying down there.
Yeah,
it's a dead pigeon. I'm like, that's sad.
I think it's
a giant dead pigeon. That's sad. Probably got a lot of diseases.
Yeah, don't touch
Don't
that.
help him. You can feel sad, but don't help him.
It's trying to get on the console and phone for help.
Yeah.
Try to call a veterinarian right now.
The Cyclone's at. I think Protoss has to run.
Oh, he's warping in more Stalkers.
Says, that's enough, Tasteless. I'm going to warp in 2 more Stalkers here. I'm like, oh, okay, you can do that too.
Well, if you see the Cyclone like this, that Stimpak is probably quite a ways away, and the Cyclone, as long as they're able to deny the vision, it's not too much of a threat. And so having 5 Stalkers like this, yeah, you're really kind of bottling Cure in his base quite significantly here. And one of the surprising things for me coming in from Trigger's response is that he's actually going into just 3-gate blink with a robo behind this. If I were in Trigger's shoes, and of course I'm less the player than Trigger is, I probably would have been trying to leverage this into some kind of greed. Like, use the 2 gateways, get a Twilight Council, get a robo, and just immediately throw down the 3rd command center, or 3rd nexus, excuse me. But for Trigger, it seems like he might be concerned about the aggressive potential here for Cure, because we do have that fast factory out of Terran, because you do know you're going to be losing some production here as Protoss. That gateway was on borrowed time for a very long time, and now finally has been taken out. And it seems like that actually was the correct call, because Cure is now moving across the map with the first siege tank. More Banshees, Marines, siege tanks are going to be reinforcing as well, and so for Trigger, this is actually going to be much about just defending this push.
You know, the bridges, they're so punishing for any kind of push on this map. Because there's no pressure for... Oh, I was about to say there's no pressure for Trigger to come across the map, and he says, Tasteless, watch this. And he just blinks right across. But Terran's having a hard time. Terran's having a hard time really getting anywhere with this. I do like the pickup in the blind spot, but I think the Adept basically scouted there's nothing there. So Trigger's trying to find it. Oh, my God, he just missed it. Trigger could have also gone for the tanks, too.
Yeah, instead, just
what's back at home?
I mean, he has a lot of gateways, right? So he should be able to warp in. He's trying to intercept the retreat back home. Actually going to get one of the siege tanks. Might go for a second one, too. That's a lot of Stalkers right there, Tasteless.
Okay, so there was an unload over here. Here we go. 8 Marines coming in.
Yeah, I think no stim either, because we're playing so tech-heavy right now for Cure, so...
Oh, good point.
He's just going to take down 5 probes, get the depot... Or not the depot, the pylon. I don't know, I keep getting my race buildings mixed up right now.
It's just a Protoss depot at the end of the day.
That's true. If only he can go up and down just like a Terran depot. It would make PvZ so much easier.
Okay, great control here. Trigger cleans this up. 9 probes killed, though. Definitely a little victory there.
I actually like the decision there by Cure to stick it out instead of trying to escape. With Blink, there's always the risk that you don't actually get out of there alive, and so he decides to stick it out, gets, what, 4 or 5 more probes for his trouble?
And do we have an observer here? We see the robo.
Oh, yeah, Cloak is done.
Yeah.
No observer on the map. He has to start it right now, and there's no shield battery either in the mineral line. There's only one just north of the mineral line, so it's a bit of a tricky proposition here for Trigger to try and defend. Oh, watch out with those Stalkers.
I don't know about that. Yeah, that looked like a bad decision to go in there. So 12 probes have been killed. That does make it 31 to 29, so it's not as gross of a disparity as you might have guessed. But you got to factor mules in there as well. I'm sorry, it's 48 to 42. What am I saying? Still, though, I guess not the end of the world.
Trigger is kind of limping into the mid-game economically right now. He has lost so many workers. 5 workers down from the Terran.
But Trigger's going for a very slow cook play. He's just going to get Storm and get a 3rd base and kind of wait. This is very hard for Terran to attack into. I think it's extremely strong.
Yeah, the fact that Trigger's going for the very fast Storm as well. He's already warping in Templar. I'm sure he's going to be using energy recharge to try and top them up as fast as possible, too. The next time these armies engage on the map, there is likely going to be a plethora of high energy Templar. As Cure actually waited for the 2nd Banshee to come in. That's going to allow him to one-shot the probes, even with the shield battery, because they sync up their shots. And he's just going to sacrifice these Banshees and just compound the damage right now. 7 probes in total going down. Tried to focus fire that 1 HP probe, but actually wasn't able to get it. So the probes were stacked up. In total, this is like maybe 20-plus probes that have fallen.
Yeah, Trigger is in bad shape. You know, with a 3rd CC coming. Cure is going to easily be able to expand. I don't know when he wants to attack. I literally, not just like as far as this game goes, I'm not sure when Terran wants to hit versus Protoss, especially when Storm is done. But he is going to get 4 ghosts, so maybe that's the answer. Maybe he wants to get those EMPs out and try to basically, just go for a kill move.
Yeah, the really fast Ghost Tech is going to give him an answer for those Templar. If Trigger is proactive about splitting the Templar on the map before the push commences, it might mitigate the Ghost Tech a little bit, but I think this is really going to be the ace in Cure's deck here. That will be a tough composition to push with. I think 1 Siege Tank in total has gone down over the course of this game, so we still have at least 3 here with the main army.
Yeah, and Trigger can't do anything to delay this.
Now, is Cure going to push out after he saturates this 3rd base, or is he going to hunker down for a little bit longer?
Well, he's making a few more ghosts, but it does feel like he has the answer, right?
Yeah, just the counterattack threat of this group of Blinkstalkers plus the Charge Zealots is very dangerous. And actually, it's Trigger who's getting aggressive on the map. He's moving forward with everything right now. I think that's 4 Templar as well. In this War Prism, more reinforcing on the ground. Kind of a role reversal. I really thought this might be Cure's opportunity to try and get some damage done, but instead it's going to be Trigger.
Trigger's going to go in here now. He's going to try to target that. He actually does get the targeting there. And we're going to have 2 more Storms go down. What is actually left over from Protoss? Terran suffered a lot of damage, but I don't see almost anything here.
Dude, Cure was so clutch, just diffusing the Templar drop from the War Prism. The first 2 got nothing done. The follow-up Storms were pretty big, but that was basically all of Trigger's firepower. That was the energy built up from like 5 minutes ago until now, including energy recharge. So for Trigger, he's going to have maybe 3 or 4 Storms max. By the time this next push commences, you see 2 Storms on that Templar. If we have energy recharge, he will have 2 more on 1 more. But Cure lost very little army right there. It is a massive lead. On the side. Does get spotted by the Medivacs. Still able to get a good Storm, but no confirmation on the kills. The Medivacs are going to heal everything back up. Zealots now charging in, able to get a really good connection on top of these Siege Tanks. Immortals also joining the fray, but as soon as that Zealot frontline thins out, the bio can really start to flex. There's no Templar here. For Trigger, 1 more warps in, waiting for energy recharge to come available.
Yeah, Cure is so close to ending this. Reinforcements are coming down. There's not enough Templar energy yet to go for a Psy Storm here. And so it's going to be down to just this remainder of Protoss unit. That's going to be it. GG. Tied up 1-1. Cure gets his win. Great game from Cure. I got to say the harass was incredible.
Yeah, that was like 20
Scouting
plus
the max packs too. That was great.
Yeah, everything was just perfect. Even going for the immediate response of canceling the command center, didn't overcommit by trying to defend with the bunker. It might have been possible, but why would you even risk it in a situation like that one? Just do the safe thing and build the CC on the high ground.
But you can even see with a push like that, it still feels a little bit close.
Yeah.
Storm is just so good at holding this off. I mean, there were like 20 workers were killed in harass, and then still, and look, I'm in the same boat as you. I didn't think that Trigger was going to go for a Storm drop, but I guess he looked at this game and thought, okay, I'm in trouble. Maybe he's not got a good spread. I can get a couple Psy Storms off and just kind of kill off a few clumps and take it that way. But anyways, we're tied up 1-1.
Yeah, pretty close series thus far.
Yes.
Just waiting for the slide to come up some off camera.
Any second now.
Guys, join our community on Patreon. Support RSL, support StarCraft II. You get all sorts of perks. We have replay packs available. There are voting rights for maps for players every season. You get discounts on the Tasteless TV merch. That includes RSL merch, such as the mugs, the hoodies, the pins, the shirts. Don't think I'm forgetting anything there. Everything
on the site.
You also get the nice, warm, fuzzy feeling of supporting StarCraft II, supporting the RSL.
Yeah. Join our community. You ever felt like, when you were in school, you were the kid, you ate alone?
That was me,
at the lunch table, and you wanted to have friends, and, you would sit down and you go, I like StarCraft. And they would just, like, beat you up and give you wedgies and bring you to the bathroom, give you a swirly. Well, now you can come to our lunch table, and it's all autistic StarCraft fans. Okay, join us. You could say, I think Zerg's too strong, and then someone else will go, but Protoss is winning the RSL. You guys can sit there and fight and battle. Join us. It can be $5 a month. It could be more if you have more, or you can just join for free.
Yeah, you can just follow the RSL. You get updates on news such as, when RSL seasons are coming on, when the brackets get posted, the schedule gets posted, information on the offline finals that will be happening later this year. There's a lot of good info on there for you.
Yeah, more on that to come here. Everybody, we're going to take a short break. When we return, we're going to go to Game 3 here in this best of 5.
What is this? Oh my God, he's hiding and waiting in there? He waits in the room? Oh my God.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are going to continue on finishing up this best of 5. Right now, it's tied up 1-1 with Trigger versus Cure.
Yeah, getting ready to go into game number 3. Some pretty aggressive opening builds so far here in Map 1 and Map 2. Map 1, Cure going for a proxy barracks, gets scouted. Map 2, Trigger goes for a proxy gateway, gets scouted. Both players lose those respective games. I wonder what the rest of this series is going to look like, because we kind of had this interesting dynamic with Maru versus Reynor, where the first 2 great games were super greedy out of Maru, and then we had the break, and Reynor came back and was just aggro every single map. Kind of the same situation here. Game 1, Game 2, very aggressive. We just had a break. Are either of these guys going to dial it back a little bit and try and play a more defensive macro game now?
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing who's going to proxy who and when will the other guy scout it. That's what I want to know. We're going to go to Maganatha here for map number 3 and find out who will take the lead. Remember, guys, Cure is the last Terran as Maru is out. So Terran players, keep your fingers crossed. We're ready to go into Game 3 now.
All right, Maganatha going to be the map here for set number 3. Trigger spawning as the red Protoss in the bottom right, Cure the blue Terran at the top left. I saw you get excited when that SCV went down. One here, it's going to go across the map. Cure just building a depot in the wall in.
So, yeah, I would say what I said at the start of the series, which is that PvT, it just seems like the Protoss doesn't have to do anything crazy. That being said, I like the Makaraks, or sorry, not Makaraks, the Max Packs opening there from Trigger. But yeah, overall, you just kind of keep pressure on the Terran. You get that splash damage out. It can be Storm, it can be Colossus with Thermal Lance. Eventually, you start to stack that until you kind of finish off the combination with Disruptors. And, Terrans, if they try to be as passive as the Protoss can be, eventually the Protoss seems to be too strong. So Cure's approach has basically been to try to do something to get the Protoss bleeding, to get the Protoss limping into the game where maybe he can finish him off. And he did pull it off in the last game.
Yeah, about 20 probes were going down in that game number 2 to Marine drops to Banshee Cloak. And for a long time, the early game harassment has been kind of the operating factor in terms of whether Terran is going to be entering the mid game with an advantage or a disadvantage. It's a little bit similar to Protoss versus Zerg in that regard, where Protoss needs to get some kind of damage done with oracles or depths in the early game to be on even footing with the Zerg. Usually it's like 2 or 3 drones. With Terran, usually you want to get probably, I would say, 3 or more probes if you could, with some kind of early game harassment, whether it be like a Widowmine drop, Hellion run by, or some kind of Banshee play or Raven play. And for Trigger, I think that a lot of this is going to come down to how well he's able to parry that pressure, because if his response to harassment in the rest of the series is around the same level as it was in game number 2, we could be ending this very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got the... this is basically the bread and butter opener that we see all the time here. It's going to be the Stalker, the Sentry to basically scout with Hallucination here. And probably the Twilight Council coming down in a little bit here to get that tech up with Blink.
Yeah, Shield Battery as well early on here in the natural expansion. So Twilight Council does get thrown down. And are we going to immediately have an energy recharge here for Trigger? Let's wait and see, watching that mini-map to see if we get a Hallucinated Phoenix. Indeed, it does seem like we will get one. And so with this scout, Trigger is able to effectively figure out exactly what the plan is going to be here for Cure, what what kind of harassment option will it be from Terran? And that should help Trigger organize the response back at home. And it's at very little cost, 50 energy cost for the energy recharge. It's equivalent to basically 1 probe worth of production from Chrono Boost. So very, very low cost to get this information. He spotted the Hellions. He knows there's probably going to be some kind of play like that. Moving in once again, just double checking the add-ons here. And now he is in just perfect position here in the natural expansion to intercept this.
So we have the next 2 Widow Mines coming out. I think it's going to be a 4 Widow Mine drop. Right now, Kier positioned to just try to deny a third base that would be taken at 6 o'clock. And, you know, you can see here exactly what's happening. And Kier's not going to try to hide it. He's going to swap the 2 structures and make a tech lab over here. And this drop's going to be inbound. I don't expect this to do too much damage, but let's see. You know, Widow Mine drops are one of the most, against Protoss, one of the most asymmetric fights ever, because it's pretty easy for Terran to do, but if Protoss, like, you know, doesn't prepare for it and handle it perfectly, you can lose all your workers and be in total hell.
Yeah, it has gotten a lot easier to defend that with the recent patch, but
yeah,
all things considered, it is one of the best options here for Terran still. Try and get some kind of economic damage done, as it's going to be 4 Widow Mines fully submerged. Actually, what was that? I actually don't know what died over there. The natural, I think it was the sentry. Hallucinated
I like
probes
this.
there.
Hallucinated probes.
Yeah.
Nice. He's going to pick this up, and it does a little bit of damage there onto the Stalker. This one, Widow Mine's going to try to run away. I love the Hellions. Yo, Cure has got some of the coolest setups to do damage.
Yeah, and because the sentry got taken down by the Widow Mine shot earlier, that's going to allow those Hellions to get into the main base. Only a couple more probe kills coming down because of that, but it does force a lot of idle time here on the main base, and that's also going to set up for the Raven to come in with 2 auto turrets. I think it's already shift queued up that Raven like 12 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll see that in a minute. Yeah. But, you know, it's so hard to do anything like that to somebody on 2 base when the game's been out for this long. Like, it's a testament to how strong of a player Kier is. We have a Forge starting here now as Trigger's just focused on development. He's going to come in once more, and this is going to pair up with the Raven that's going to come in here.
Ooh. Oh, he's got blinked in. All right. For whatever reason, nice. I just didn't think the blink was finished just yet. So
what?
Yeah, Trigger able to defuse that. That medevac just barely surviving.
Oh, he stopped the Raven. I'm like, how long has this Raven been traveling down there?
Reminds me of the old school Liberator harass where you just shift queue it like as soon as it pops out of your starport. I don't see that quite as often these days.
So we have the 3rd CC started. This is not a 2-base all-in, but we could be seeing a push come in here pretty quickly. Got to be careful, man. Are you going to commit with this or not?
That takes 2 Stalkers a long time to take down the Raven, but I guess they actually are going to be able to get it.
What? I can't believe anything about this game right now. It's just, this is the rest of the game. I'm like, huh? What? No.
Yeah, the Raven, like, it turned back like twice there. It was kind of, it was tricky. I feel like it's very rare that you see the Raven actually die.
When I see a pro do that, I'm like, well, he must just know. Like, I'm not going to, say this won't work. And then it's like, oh, no.
That was kind of funny micro.
Trigger comes in here and damages that. Stim's about to finish up, and we're going to have a double medevac drop. Terrans have gotten so good with the positioning here in the main to protect this.
Oh, he's actually setting up outside of his base.
Yeah, he might be trying to sandwich like the Stalkers out here. You know, a lot of times you keep these out here to deny scouts and everything else. Ooh. So he's going to bring this up here.
That's anticlimactic. Oh, man, one shot.
Okay, so he's just going to move through the map. He might try to hit the 3rd base with this. There is a Warp Prism started, by the way. It might be Protoss's turn to move out now. But Terran's going to be the one that's going to seize the 3rd base first. And it seems like Kier might just be trying to set up like a tactical position here. By the way, Kier, if he pushes, I think it might be a really good move. He seems to have a much bigger army. And it's not like Trigger has a position to counterattack, at least yet.
Yeah, there hasn't been all that economic damage done directly to Trigger, but it's been so much idle time. If we think back to the main base and the natural expansion, how often those probes were getting pulled? I think it was like 3 or 4 times at least in total. That was like 30 seconds plus maybe of an entire mineral line just not mining, which actually is quite substantial here for Trigger. Plus delaying the 3rd base as well there from here was a nice move, but You do have to keep in mind that the army from Trigger in like a minute or two is going to be really strong. He's adding in a second robotics facility. He's going to have +2 ground weapons that just get started up. Immortals are getting into the mix. The potential of growth here for Trigger, if he's able to just stabilize on these 3 bases, he can match Cure in the army, but he needs to buy that time. So he's going to try and move out here in the center.
Great dodge.
Ooh, really aggressive blink forward there by Trigger. Cure is going to punish him for it. That's a lot of damage done by these Stalkers.
This is all going to try to pour down onto the 4th base that Trigger's taking now. Again, we got to watch the Psy Storms. Oh, man, almost got the Warp Prism in range of the Widow Mine there. Again, Cure's going to shuffle his units on the board to try to make sure that... Oh,
that's a substantial drop, Tasteless!
A humongo drop.
It's gargantuan! Look at this! I wish there was a word to describe this.
Yeah, it's a little, I wish there was a word to describe that pylon over here in the main that's powering almost everything. This is insane.
Sorry, there's a taste pylon, the tasteless pylon and a state pylon over there on the left side to keep it safe. So
yeah.
Some of these gateways will still be powered, but still, that's a lot of production taken offline right now. Double Storm will come in with the energy recharge, or maybe that was actually dropped there by the Warp Prism, but still there's no confirmation of any of these kills. The medevacs are healing everything up.
Yeah, there's a huge attack up here with these Zealots that are actually taking out this 3rd base. So, you know, I don't know, man. Cure is doing so much damage here with what he's got. Both these guys are basically in shambles here. 14 SCVs have been killed, excuse me. I think Cure can actually come out here with another attack and finish Trigger off. That was a lot of destroyed infrastructure. How many operational gates are there right now? Like 4 or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the main, so there's 6 gateways in total on the map right now. I think 2 of them are still offline in the main, 2 or 3. Oh, just the 1. Okay, so he's operating on 5 gateways. It's not that bad because we do have the second Robo and the Robo Bay done, but it's still pretty bad here for Trigger. Losing the main base in a situation like that one is never a position you want to be in. And look at the army that Protoss has right now. This is so tricky to micro. Like, how are you going to deal with any sort of kiting with this comp? And Cure can just push in right now with these siege tanks inching forward. There's no anti-air, literally no anti-air for these Vikings. Finally, now Stalkers are joining in, but that Colossus is going to go down.
Yeah, I don't know that Trigger has enough here, man. And, you know, all these Immortals are going to go down, and then it's going to be Protoss back to 0 here. Cure has won this game. Unbelievable. GG.
Dude, that drop in the main base just completely dislodged Trigger's position. So much production came offline. The main Nexus was lost. All that production had to be rebuilt. Trigger was forced into a position where I think he couldn't even warp in Stalkers. I think the Styber Core might have also gone down.
Yeah.
So he had to warp in just Zealots, limited in the anti-air options. Had to really lean heavily on the double Robo when you kind of don't want to make Colossus into that composition. Like, it's siege tanks, there's ghosts, and there's like a ton of Marauders. The Colossus, they hardly do anything. That was a brutal drop, dude. That was like the game-winning move coming in from Cure.
It's really impressive. We were talking about, you know, Cure. He's stuck with the style that we said. Like, he's going to be aggressive. He does not want a long game. And he just has enough of a variety of tactics. Like, you know, he was looking okay pushing that 4th base, but the decision to just pick up, I'm not sure what prompts that or if it's an impulse that makes him do it, but he identified that this is going to be a great moment to just run in there, and maybe it's because he forces enough warp-ins at the 4th base, but he just drops in the main and triggers, you know, all that infrastructure falls apart. Beautifully done.
Yeah, the Sim City and the main base there of Trigger also made it very tricky to defend. All those gateways there on the north side, it was kind of a bottleneck. He came in with a Warp Prism. I'm not sure if the Templar came in from the Warp Prism or was warped in and then energy recharged, but in any case, the units were already so spread, and then the Zealots, after the storms hit, had like this maze, this hedge maze to work through to try and find the Terran army. They got the very late connections. By then, the medevacs had healed basically everything up. Just a wonderfully played game there by Cure, and now it's match point. The lone Terran standing here in the RSL is 1 map win away from facing Reynor in the lower bracket semifinal. Trigger, if he loses this map, he is out of the tournament.
Yeah. I think Trigger's got a shot, but I mean, Cure has just been so impressive. And look, we have many Protosses waiting in the upper bracket here, right? If anybody could take them out, I mean, Cure's looking very, very strong. Again, guys, if Cure is eliminated, he's the last Terran player in this season of the RSL, although he's looking like a very worthy Terran to be the remaining one here. A matchup where last season, as well as EWC, we were kind of talking about the fundamental challenges that come with being Terran in this matchup now. It does seem to be one where the Terran, and this was sometimes true in the matchup, but it's really true now, that Terran has to stop the Protoss before the Protoss gets too big. Some RTS games, some matchups, this is how it works, is one guy might have an opportunity to end it, and if not, the other side is too strong.
Yeah, it's been, I think, 9 months since that balance patch hit with the energy recharge. And I actually was looking at some of the statistics there for Cure heading into today because I was just curious at where his TVP is at. I wanted to see if my impression of his TVP being weaker this year is actually true, or if it's just kind of a bias that I have from the games that I've casted. And I looked at a 5% drop in terms of Cure's win rate in TVP, looking at the 9 months before the patch and the 9 months after the patch. I think he's still one of the leading players in TVP, but especially for Cure's aggressive style, I feel like the energy recharge change is just very painful, with the Hallucination Scout potentially coming in so early, and then also with energy recharge being utilized defensively with Storm. I mean, those two things usually hit at critical junctions in the game where normally Cure, a player like Cure with his style, would have a power spike, right? Where you're trying to get some kind of damage done, or you're trying to throw Protoss a curveball. Over the course of 2025, it's been much tougher going here.
Something tells me Cure's just going to go for that same style of the Stalker with the blink and, get the Robo out and take that third base. I'm more interested in seeing what Cure does here. And even if it's the same composition, what exactly does he do with it?
I think we're probably going to see more of the same. Just some kind of early game harassment coming in from Cure. It's been working so well, both in Game 2 and Game 3. He got huge amounts of damage done. Even when it got scattered by the hallucinations, he was still able to find some pretty good damage. And then just follow up with, the tried and true heavy Marauder composition. It has been working so well for him. It's what worked well for him in the past. It feels more like what we're seeing from Cure today is what we expect to see from Cure from months and years in the past, right? Just the absolutely rock solid mid-game TVP. For whatever reason, whenever I'm casting a Cure game in TVP, it always just feels like he has more bio than literally anybody else. It doesn't quite make sense. I'm sure it's something I'm imagining. Maybe it's just the way he controls it or the way he positions with it. But it just feels like he has more. And when you're playing the kind of styles that Trigger is with Storm, if Cure can find a way to get you to waste some of that energy, especially the energy recharge, like we saw him do in game number 2, where Cure attacked into Trigger, or Trigger attacked into Cure, and wasn't able to get too much damage done, and then basically lost all of his big splash damage, that is the moment where Cure is able to shine.
So he's going to come down here now.
Well, do you see that?
Okay, he's going to go for this Widow Mine, and what Cure's doing is he's going to throw this Widow Mine to the side to basically buy time for the 2 more Marines to come out. And, this is one of the things when you watch, it's not very often you get to see Stalkers and Marines fight when there's either no blink or no stim, but Stalkers are better units, as you can see here.
Yeah, they have that longer range. They do 4-shot the Marines. Although a Cyclone with the medevac here coupled up is going to have enough vision to be able to chase these ones down. That recall actually went through.
That's
I'm shocked
crazy.
both of them survived.
I thought it was going down.
Yeah.
The War Prism started back at home, along with 2 more gateways. We're about to have Blink finish. This time around, it's not going to be a Widow Mine drop, although it seems like Cure is trying to find any kind of spotter units out here. It's actually going to be a Banshee with tanks. This actually could be... I guess it could be a very early push, or it could be a really passive game. I guess with Cloak, that answers the question. It's not going to be an aggro game. It's going to be a harass game with the Banshee. So he needs to get the tank sieged up. Now, there's this quirk that Trigger has. I almost had like Elmer Fudd voice and called him Twigga. Is that he always attacks the front first instead of blinking in the main. And I feel like if he just blinks in the main first and tries to kill stuff, it's going to go much better. But here we are. It looks like, every time he does this.
Well, this time it's 4-gate blink, so he's going to have a lot more blink forward, able to almost take down that siege tank before he can get a second shot. War Prism not able to pick up that very front Stalker, so one of them is going to fall, but This is a pretty good start here for Trigger. He's able to blink to the right side of the base. The natural expansion here on Takamaka is quite wide, and so that Siege Tank is going to have to reposition even closer. That's getting it in range of potentially another aggressive blink. Now, is Trigger going to go for that? Isolating one Stalkers, it looks like he probably is. There's the blink. Able to one-shot that Siege Tank, and now there's no more Siege here for Cure.
This game can end pretty quickly here without Siege mode. Now, there is Banshee Cloak. This was actually, the premeditation here was to use this to harass, but he's using this to basically end the onslaught of damage that would eventually cost him the game. So that means there's no surprise attack back at home, which is really good for Trigger. I mean, basically everything's going perfectly here for Trigger. He's getting another Observer out here. We might see even one more made. He's getting his third base. Meanwhile, Terran had lost a decent amount of SCVs just trying to survive that attack. I don't know that Trigger wants to attack in anymore, but he can at least keep some pressure on out here.
Yeah, now one of the interesting things, which I don't think Trigger has caught on to just yet, is that Kira is actually going mech.
Oh.
He's adding in a third factory right now. He's building double Siege Tank production at this moment. And eventually I think the alarm bells are going to start going off here for Trigger. He's like, wait, how many Siege Tanks do you have? This doesn't make sense. All right, the blink is just going to show it immediately. So now Trigger knows this is going to be a game versus mech. He's moving into the main base, going to try and take down some of these supply depots without the bio. It's a little bit tough for Kira to be able to have the maneuverability to really slow down this harassment. So he's just going to have to wait until Trigger evacuates the base. And what will the response from Protoss be? It looks like a lot more gateways.
Okay, so the Stalkers are forced back a little bit further here. Now, this is going to be a push that's going to hit really hard. This is not a game where he's trying to do anything other than kind of come and cut the Protoss down. The problem is that Trigger's got so many more opportunities still to kind of harass. You don't really see this interaction very often, but yeah, you can blink those and juggle those Stalkers in and out of the Warp Prism and avoid the Banshee shots. The Banshee shot does fire very slow. It's a pretty easy animation to outmaneuver. Back at home, Trigger looks really good. He's kept up on all of his macro. But again, this is a really weird Terran comp. It's 3 factory with Banshee production.
Yeah, this is...
I mean, this is just not... I'm not even saying like it's bad. It's just not a usual composition. I guess the Cyclones are going to make it harder to use Blink, and eventually the tanks can come up and set up in siege mode and hit there. I guess the biggest problem is going to be this Warp Prism that's still here. I almost think he should have gotten a Viking or something to just drive this away, because there's no way to actually chase it out.
It's weird, because Kira doesn't have a third command center just yet, which makes me think this is going to be like a 2-base mech all-in.
Oh, I think that's exactly what it is.
But it's just... Okay, so he does have Blue Flame now coming online. I actually missed that here in the production tab. I was wondering what the answer would be to the mass number of Zealots that Trigger's making, because he's on a lot of gateways. He's actually going into Archons here, too.
The third command center is started here, so it's not like he's going to send this with all of his SCVs. There is like an economic future here. But I do think the attack out here is going to be really important. But maybe I've got a bad read. Maybe he's just going to sit here and try to get these mech units out. I'm still under the impression that you really do need to have like severe damage coming into the Protoss, and you can't let them just get out of hand and get too big.
Yeah, I haven't seen a game quite like this one in TVP before, but with the third command center, maybe the MO here for Cure is you take the third command center with your mech army. There's basically no way that Trigger can attack into you and kill you, right? And if Cure wants, it'll be pretty inefficient in the mining, because the main base and the natural base are going to be mining out. Natural's already starting to mine out, but he could just take the third and turtle up until he's effectively maxed, right? I mean, he will have enough income to do that.
Okay, he is going to move out with this, again, kind of a crazy composition. Now, obviously, Stalkers are going to be able to gun down, out of any unit in the game, a Hellbat extremely easily. But this lets the third base get set up over here. I think he just used the... Oh, sorry, the Raven actually saw the Observer. I was like, how did you see that? Now,
wow.
Trigger is going to try to... What?
Okay.
Dude.
Well, I said that Trigger definitely can't break down this third command center, but he's going to try Tasteless.
He's got Hellbats here, though, and that's going to be a little bit tough for these Zealots to surround, but the numbers are so high. Oh, my God,
Dude.
Hellbats.
All right, I feel vindicated.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, there's no way Trigger could do it. And then Trigger's like, watch me try.
Well, yeah, sometimes when you see two comps fight and you don't really cast that, like I don't cast Mass Hellbat, Submarine Mech versus this. I thought, well, he just must know. I don't know how this interaction goes.
Turns out Mass Blue Flame Hellbat is really good versus Mass Zealot.
That's crazy how fast that melted. And it's funny because now that the Immortals are in the front over here, these are supposed to wipe out all the mech units, but I guess there's enough Marines and other weird stuff in the front. I think the Cure might just win the game here. Now, I know that this is close, but I think that the reinforcements are going to be really tough for Protoss to deal with.
I mean, he can go for one more big round of Stalker Warpins, and Trigger might be able to survive, but Terran has so many factories right now that third base is finally online, and so the production's going to be really big here. Now, with these Stalkers, he's able to get some keen pickoffs, getting the Siege Tank, getting the Cyclones, able to take down the Banshees.
Dude, this is insane.
It's looking like he's stabilizing.
It does feel like Cure is maybe pushing when he should have been regrouping. Specifically in that last attack, it's like, well, this is just not enough to beat anything in small numbers. But I think Cure can just sort of continue to produce out of what he's got. And the biggest, besides the fact that all the Zealots got melted earlier, it's the fact that the was it four? 4 Immortals were killed. It's not like he's got 4 Robos to make those 4 Immortals again. And this is a mech army. Obviously Immortals were designed, even though I think for me in my head they're best against Stalkers. They really were made so that you could maybe have a solution versus mech.
Yeah, Trigger is restarting that Immortal production, plus 3 grand weapons also getting started here for Protoss. Terran sitting on 1-1 right now with a vehicle, just starting plus 2 vehicle weapons. And for Cure, he might have had a window where he would have been able to end the game after that initial push if he had just regrouped the way that you thought. But I think he perhaps didn't understand exactly where Trigger was at economically, because up until that point, Cure had basically just been bottled in his base the entire game. The scouting information must have been very limited. Cure is kind of playing in the dark for the early portion of this match, and so now it seems like the pivot is going to be into something more macro-focused. He's throwing down an additional command center. Soon a 4th base will get taken. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw the main command center lift off pretty soon to try and saturate maybe a 5th base.
This is a lot of probes that are going to get killed off over here. It's going to be, 15 are killed, and they're actually trapped. The perfect recall here. That's kind of insane. The problem for Protoss right now is they're sort of even on bases with that last base getting wiped out. But, it does feel like you need a certain number of Hellions. I guess they are the most replaceable thing you have right now. They really are like the Zerglings of the game, in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't think I mind it too much here for Cure. It's a nice move. You kill an entire mineral line. Trigger up until that point was on relatively low work count. I think he's struggling to resaturate everything as he's taking a 5th base. Certainly gonna have to build more probes if he wants to have that 5th base online and fully productive as well. And for Cure, the Hellions are just kind of this throwaway unit that you send out there to get map presence. They give you scouting information. You get to see the army composition of the opponent. And you can also keep their economy in check. And Trigger's trying to fight back with his own charge zealots.
Oh, he's feeding. He's feeding here. This is like really bad.
Yeah.
It's
this
funny
is a
because
moment he'd be getting flamed.
This works versus Bio, right? But versus mech, you're just going to run into units that are going to torch you. And so we're going to see the next attack come in. And I got to say, man, I don't think the Trigger can survive this. The Stalkers are getting melted. We don't have enough Robo units out. There's 1 Immortal here, 2 Immortals, excuse me. And then it's Stalker Zealot.
Yeah, the battle mech is just oppressive.
Yeah, look at the kiting. Oh my god. And then eventually the tanks are going to come up here.
Oh man, there's no detection for the Banshees as well. I think the Observer actually got taken out. We have a Raven with this army, so another Observer is going to be joining the fray. It's the only detection here for Trigger besides that Photon Cannon. He's going to blink forward, try and take down this army, but I think the Cyclones just have too much damage.
Okay, he's just barely maybe got enough?
No, dude. I don't think there's a chance.
Oh,
Cure's army is just
Cure.
so Oh, yeah, for sure. Cure is barreling
that's a sneaky way to cast. I just say, I think he's going to win, and then if he corrects me, I go, no, not that, the other guy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he did it, dude.
What a game from Cure. That was one of the most bizarre TVPs I've ever seen.
Now, listen, guys, here's the moral of the story today, okay? All the Zerg players are ready to cry because they thought that Reynor was going to get eliminated. They had their box of tissues. They were ready to cry. And then Reynor survived and he's still in the RSL, so you can't bitch and moan yet. And then the Terrans went, well, it's okay because we're going to cry because Cure's going to get eliminated. And they had their box of tissues, and they were getting their Reddit posts there. They were spell checking it because they don't want to look dumb. And then Cure won. So neither of you can complain until tomorrow because one of them's going to lose. It's going to be a TVZ.
Yeah, one of them is going to get eliminated in the best of 7, but I'm excited they're going to have some more representation from Terran and Zerg coming in. It would have been a sad day if 3 Protoss in the top 4, top 3, whatever it is.
Tomorrow, one race will be eliminated and tears will be shed.
Indeed.
Oh, no, wait, tomorrow I'm wrong. I reversed our order.
Oh, is that actually
What happens tomorrow?
Oh, it's the upper bracket tomorrow.
It's upper bracket?
Okay. It's a PvP.
Z was like shaking his head and pointing up, and I'm like, praise God. What do you want me to say right now? I don't know what's going on. Just
Glory
just
to
tell
the
me.
Creator.
Just use your words. They can't hear you.
The Terran and the Zerg have survived.
All right, so guys, you're not going to be able to cry until the day after tomorrow.
Oh, my God.
Tomorrow you can shake your head with your arms folded. The entire thing, go, Protoss is too strong for once.
Yeah, it takes a Protoss to kill a Protoss.
Hey, Reddit, what's wrong? Protoss is doing well. Sick, guys.
Oh, my God.
All right, guys. Well, this is an amazing day of games here. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's a schedule. But you know what's going on. You know where you're going to be.
God, you crack me up, Tasteless.
You're going to be here tomorrow. You're going to be here the day after. And then you better be here for the last day. That would be insane. You can miss the other days, I guess. But you better watch the finals. Guys, this is season 2. Which means we're like only halfway or almost halfway through the RSLs because we got season 3 after this. Then we have the RSL offline finals. What? That's right. It's going to be in Seoul. We're talking to venues now. It's going to be 15 million won with the players there, the casters there. The fans can be there. We will be selling tickets. More information on that to come.
Yeah, champion of Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3 of RSL. If they're a foreign player, travel and accommodation, all paid for, they're going to be here. It's going to be spectacular, and I've said it for a very long time, having offline events, it's the best feeling in the world. There is something special about having an audience that's there supporting the game. It really shows you the community. Having the players, everyone being able to chat before and after the event, it's the kind of thing you live for, and it wouldn't be possible without the support of you and also the support of our official partner, Archon Studio.
Yeah, Archon Studio has this sick tabletop miniatures game for StarCraft coming out. These guys make the best tabletop miniatures games in the world. They're the premier maker of this. I would say go to their website, check out their stuff for what they've got now, because I know you're going to pre-order the StarCraft set, but you're going to want to get their other products too, and they've got a lot of great stuff on there. And it's going to be just around the holiday season. They're going to announce it.
Well, it's smart.
Could be a stocking stuffer. Could be the big box under the tree.
Oh, man. StarCraft tabletop miniatures game. This is the main feature of any
actually,
Christmas in my
I don't think that's going to fit in a stocking. So you got
to be really miniature,
yeah. Guys, join our Patreon. If you're watching this, you've probably been meaning to sign up. If you can't sign up, you can't afford it right now. You've fallen on hard times. That's okay. You can join. You can just join it, like as you'll follow it, and you'll get some updates there. But if you want to support what we're doing, the money goes to the prize pool, the production, to the live venue we're going to be renting out in December. We hope to give you that extra nudge and join us in our endeavor to get high quality, streamlined, well-produced StarCraft II tournament content out there to the world.
And of course, if you're a Patreon supporter, you also get a 20% discount on all Tasteless TV merch at tastelessthreads.com. It's a steal. They're robbing you blind, Tasteless.
And I know that the day after tomorrow, either the Zergs or the Terrans are going to go goth. Okay, they're going to go emo. They're going to be dressing in black because their race has been eliminated. Well, that's okay because the T-shirt and the hoodie and the mug are in black.
You even get a black pin. You don't have to get one of the bright and colorful ones.
That's right.
Just go full emo galore as you write your balance winding threads on Team Liquid and Reddit.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got some other cool stuff on the website as well. Please consider getting on whatever YouTube, whether it's your main YouTube account or you have like a tournament account where you follow the StarCraft stuff.
You're smurfing on YouTube.
You're like, I don't want to know what YouTube videos I'm watching. Subscribe to our YouTube because we need to grow this thing because a lot of people just don't know it's out there, right? This is pretty new. There's just so much content out there. I mean, there's a ton of StarCraft content. Like, at any given point in time, there's tournaments going on, but just there's a lot of stuff out there, so it's hard for people to know. I mean, they have to sift through this. And the YouTube algorithm is going to be our best friend for that, because it's going to be dishing this out to people who are just like you. So maybe you're watching already and this isn't really that important to you because you've already found it. What you would be doing is helping us find other people like you who would enjoy this.
Yeah. Well said, Tasteless.
Yeah.
Getting good at this. It's been 2 seasons of these pitches. It's beautifully done.
It's getting better and better. Just like our days will for this RSL. Guys, that's all the time we have today. We're going to be back tomorrow, and it is the upper bracket.
Upper bracket,
okay.
yeah.
That's so funny. I was completely wrong. It's going to be the upper bracket tomorrow at PvP. We'll see you then. We love you. Bye-bye.